And we are live. We are down one co-host at the moment, but he will be joining us a little bit later in the show. If you guys are looking to hear the smooth tones of LordCognito, he will join us in a bit. But for now, it is Travis, myself, and our guest, which will join here in a little bit. Travis, how you doing, man? I think you did you sleep after this weekend? After the traumatic
Uh,
loss of all your work just gone?
no,
No sleeping. Okay,
didn't.
good.
No sleeping. I have more stuff to work on. I'm on to the next review, and yeah, it's a fun time. I had a good time though. I like being busy. If I can't remember what my actual life is like, then that's a good state. That that's good for me. Happy.
Anything that you can talk about that you are working on, or is it still hush hush at the moment?
I can talk about my next review. Can I? Yes, I can talk about my next review. I'm reviewing the next game from the developer of Dead by Daylight. They made a game called Meet Your Maker,
I saw you
which
playing that.
is
Okay, yeah.
which is a interesting game. It's like it's kind of two games wrapped in one. One is
Like build levels
it's
in a Souls like or something? Like,
correct. It's
yeah.
no, it's not Souls like. It's sort of like one of those really tough first person shooters where if you get hit one time you die, and you have to go into bases that are made by other players and steal their uh treasure, their item, and then you have to escape. And then you also have to spend time building your own base and making other people try to pilfer from you. So it's like a attack defense type game. It's really interesting. I think I'm only allowed to say that I'm reviewing it, but I'm reviewing it, and it's very unique, which is kind of par for the course for the Dead by Daylight team. But yeah, with GDC wrapped up, E3 apparently not happening, and most of my stuff sort of out the door. I'm kind of just going to be knocking out reviews. I've got a Destiny raid guide that has been done for a couple weeks, except the video editing team hasn't had time for it because of GDC. So the video editor told me today that it's going to be done tomorrow. So if for some reason you haven't done the raid a month out and you want to get a guide via the dulcet tones of Ty Guy Travis, I got you. I'll be there for you if you need that for whatever reason.
I actually kind of wanted to get your take just because you've been in the industry and you work at IGN. I wanted to see whether you, your coworkers, anything, just kind of like the temperature about E3 actually officially being canceled this year is, there was an attempt. I heard some stuff yesterday where Ubisoft and I think Devolver and maybe one other had actually pulled out like yesterday, and we knew the big ones weren't there, but more pulled out yesterday than this happened so fast to actually officially be canceled today. I was just curious your thoughts on that one real quick. It's a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really bummed. E3 was, people like to make fun of it because it does have a lot of hilarious faults, and the ESA is not a perfect organization, as I can attest, somebody who had their data leaked in 2018 or 19 or whenever it was. I think it was 19. So as somebody who had that happen, I know the E3 was not a perfect event, but it was really special to me because you only had one event per year where the entire games industry was together in the same place, which was a really magical feeling. And it was also part of how I was able to get started in the industry, just going there and covering that event as a freelancer and meeting all the people I met through IGN that way. And I just have a very good relationship with E3. And so this cancellation just sucks, man. I mean, I I get it. I understand why it's happening, and I get why publishers are increasingly going to their own kind of private digital events and smaller events and that sort of stuff. But I do think that there's a place in the industry for an E3 like event, and I hope that something fills that void. Um, there's a bunch of different within IGN, the people I've talked to, a bunch of different feelings. Some people cared about it more than others. Some people didn't care about it at all. Like Dan Stapleton doesn't care about it because he never goes anyway because he's got kids. But
Everything for
it is
him is after the
interesting.
fact, though. He's like, he's not on the up and coming. He's like, all right, now the game is actually just about to arrive. That's when he needs it. So
Exactly.
he's at a
Yeah, he's
different.
not doing like previews, and he's also one of those guys who like is happy about the death of movie theaters, which I'm one of the people who thinks movie theaters are awesome because I like
Uh,
being a part of the public forum. You ever
see,
go to a movie theater and everybody's there's like a feeling and electricity in the room about the movie, or if you go over see a bad movie and everybody's just like screaming at the screen and heckling, and I feel like there's an energy in that kind of community experience that I think is lost if everything is just playing it at Netflix at home. And
Yeah. I mean, I went to go see John
yeah,
Wick this past weekend in theaters, and I was like, you
that
can
must have
have,
been awesome.
man, that movie's
Yeah.
excellent. If you enjoyed any of the first ones, this might be the best one of the four. So
Yeah.
it's good.
So I know the IGN reviewer gave it a 10 out of 10, and I have not seen any of the John Wick movies. So
I see a marathon
this
in your future.
the marathon is already underway.
Oh,
I'm
nice,
watching the
nice.
third one. I'm watching the third one tonight. I watched the first one on Tuesday and the second one yesterday. So I'm gonna catch up, and then I'm gonna watch it in theaters on Sunday. So no spoilers.
Nice.
But yeah,
I'll get your review of
I'm
everything next week.
yeah. So anyway, I'm sad that things are increasingly making people isolated. I don't think that's I understand people should have some ability to get things at home and not have to go through the hassle of going outside if they don't want to, but I certainly will miss some of that as somebody who isn't very social in general and sort of uses a movie coming out or an E3 conference as the only excuse I have to sort of be a social person and interact with other people. Because if it were up to me, I would never do that. And that probably wouldn't be good for my mental health or my social skills. And I think that for people who are younger than me and are still developing that stuff, it really sucks that they're becoming more and more isolated. And I think it's gonna mess with people's psychology in the long run. But what do I know? That said, this is a great opportunity for IGN's Summer Game Fest, which is going on around the same time. And I think IGN is sort of trying to replace E3 in a way. And I, for one, wish them luck in their endeavor, because that would be great for me.
They got to compete with Jeff Keighley. So good luck with that one. He seems to have most of the cards right now.
Well, he's doing an award show that people largely hate. And I think well, not largely hate, but people have the same groany opinion about the Game Awards show as they did about E3. So I think it's replacing it certainly, and it's like this is a big bloated corpse of a show sentiment, which I don't know if that's a good thing, but yeah, I think there's opportunity for things to fill in, and obviously E3 wasn't a perfect show, so if something can replace it, I'll be happy. But it definitely does hurt to see E3 go away. I liked going E3. It's cool.
Well, as I said, I saw John Wick, played some Diablo, played some Destiny, but I don't want to leave our guest hanging in the wind too long, so let's bring him in. Welcome to The Last Word, episode number 243. As we said, this week E3 got canceled. I lost my weekend to Diablo 4, Link built a boat, and Destiny 2 got easier. Gaming continues to be an adventure for all of us, and who better discuss most things Destiny 2 and some other gaming things than our guest. This man started his gaming journey with some influence from his father, and if our guest's main games growing up, Baldur's Gate and Call of Duty, had a baby, a combination of words I don't think I've ever said before, Destiny is probably pretty close to what you would actually get. If you've seen his content before, then the fact that he got his degree in mechanical engineering won't surprise you at all. Calculations, optimizations, and really understanding how every gear of our Guardians work is really what gets our guest specializes in. And if you have seen some of his videos, you are in for a treat, because his build guides, epic weapon reviews, raid walkthroughs, and anything else are some of the best you'll find in the community. So let's welcome a man who enjoys hobbies that both take place on inclines and declines, depending on the weather, or a flat rectangular plane with a focus on playing footsie. A warlock at heart who was tempted by the hunter elusiveness for a time, but knew he had to follow his heart and embrace the robes of his true class of choice. So let's pull out a chair for the one and only Gmeiners. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. That was like a poem. That was like a poem of everything.
We try and treat you right here. Our guests are royalty at the campfire.
That's
so
fair.
Definitely want to.
Very kind.
Yeah, how you doing?
No.
I'm doing well. Not doing bad.
What were you gonna say, Travis?
I was just gonna make a comment that you're working on your poetry slams. So
yeah,
it's good. Yeah.
I work on them during the week at the coffee shops, and then I come in here and deliver them once
Coming
I've
here,
ironed them
yeah.
out. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He runs them by his hacky sack group. They kind of give him some feedback, you know.
Uh, well, I kind of want to get that little bit of a journey, just the history of like you started playing games through your dad. Did he introduce you? Were you guys playing together? How did just getting into gaming start for you?
Yeah. I mean, as early as I could remember, I had like a PS2. I feel like everybody just had like their starting console. So I just remember we had that set up in like the basement. We had these old like raggedy chairs. They're like these wooden chairs with like a cushion on them. They would like swivel,
Yep.
and we would just sit down there and we would game. And it was just all like the kiddie games. But the main one that I remember playing with him, played a lot of Lego Star Wars when I was like in elementary school. But
Nice.
we had that game Baldur's Gate, which was just fun. It was, I don't even know how you describe it. Not really like an RPG, kind of like a dungeon crawling
Yeah.
looter slasher,
An
I guess.
ARPG, they're called. Action
ARPG?
RPGs. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Great
so
game,
we
though.
played that, and then PS2 led to PS3, PS3 to PS4, and then just like kept trying out new games over time.
Nice.
Baldur's Gate. So that's you must be older than you look then, because that's kind of an older game.
I'm 23. I don't know when Baldur's Gate came
I
out
was
because
like,
we
now
had.
I feel old.
Yeah, 23.
Did you guys play them?
Young. I did, but I played it. I feel like I played that game when I was in high school. It was kind of a long time ago.
Like it's been a
Okay.
minute, but yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
It's an old game.
I'm
I
not
know
quite
that,
double
but-
your age, but I'm not that far from double your age. So
Really?
My dad had it though.
God
My dad
damn,
had it.
you're
so-
old, E.
yeah, I'm
He's
gonna
hella
I'm gonna be
old.
40 this year. So it's
Really?
I'm an old man in a young man's game. So I'm trying to keep up all the
That's
time.
crazy.
Yep.
Guys, ancient.
You're like what? You're
Wow.
30? What? 31?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Something like that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. I'm early 30s.
Yeah.
I think.
And then I know Cog's always got me by like usually about 4 years, somewhere in there. So he's a little.
Cog's in his 40s.
Yes, Cog is in his 40s.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, I
He
mean, when you
doesn't- he
say
doesn't
Baldur's
look it.
Gate, it was like I
He's-
remember many things before and many things after. So it's like I don't know if I can usually narrow down when.
Which
it came
Baldur's
out.
Gate was it? Was it Dark Alliance or?
It was Dark Alliance. I'm trying to
Okay.
think when
Yeah.
they came out. Dark.
So that
I
was
played 1 and
PS2
2.
era.
Okay.
Yeah. So you were like a toddler.
Yeah,
like
I
a
was
small
young.
boy.
So it came out 2001. I was born in 99, but like I didn't play it until I was
Yeah.
probably like, I don't know, 5, 6, something like that. So it's not like I was playing it 2 years old at release. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Well, people think I'm super old too because they ask me what my first console is, and I always say Atari.
It's hard.
Because
Yeah,
I played the
I've never played
Atari.
Atari.
Atari's sweet, dude. Super underrated. But also, hard to get. I actually still have one. I have an Atari.
Okay.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even. My first one was 8-bit Nintendo. I think my parents got that for Christmas. Rented like NES Golf or something like that. My dad was a golfer forever, so we were playing that. And it's just like the most pixelated golf game in the entire world. But I would say the one that I think I knew I had a problem of gaming was going to be a thing was Super Mario Brothers 3. Played it with like a friend, and we spent a good 8-10 hours playing it or something like that one day. And I was like, "Yep, that's a thing I like doing."
The addiction.
Not Mega
starts-
Man. Wasn't Mega Man? 'Cause you're a
Mega
big
Man
Mega Man
3
guy, aren't you?
came, I think Mega Man 3 was, I swear, when I played Mega Man 3, I feel like it was in a different house than when I was playing Super Mario Brothers 3.
Mm.
So it was probably a little later. Mega Man 3 is like probably where I bashed my head against a pain in the butt game the most when I was young. And then
Yeah.
like after doing that, when you get into a Souls game, you're like, oh, this is just like modern Mega Man. That's all it seemed like to me. It's pain in the ass action game, and just in a different aspect. But yeah.
So, G, is your handle a music reference?
No, it's not. It's not at all.
Okay.
A lot of people say that. It's just my name. My YouTube used to just be Gmeiners, so that's just my name. And then Gmeiners
Oh, okay.
was the shorter version, but my gamer tag was always Gmeiners because like I remember I got a PS3, and that was I think the first time I could make like a gamer tag.
Yeah.
And I didn't want it to be anything stupid. I was young, but young enough to know that I'd make a dumb decision and make it something like cringy. So I just said, stick to your name, you're good. And then it was always that. So yeah.
Because it sounds like a handle. It doesn't sound like it's your actual name.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
G
pretty
minors
good.
kind of just rolls off the tongue, and it works. Yeah.
I got lucky.
Mine was
Yo, shout out to somebody in the comments who's 70. Look at the
Hey.
range we have in this
I will
like
tell you, like, my
industry. It's
comment
crazy.
section, and not to shout all of you out at the same time, but my comment section, I'm pretty sure if you look at the bar graph of, like, if you picture, like, Dream, who streams Minecraft to 12-year-olds, and his, like, you know, demographics bar graph is probably towards the younger end, mine is the exact opposite. Like,
Towards the older
mine
end.
seems to, yeah, definitely skew a
You have
little
older
bit older.
followers.
Little older
So that
group of
explains
followers.
why none of your followers like me, because I'm like the younger one, and I have somewhat like more youthful opinions. Because I have the same problem on Bitcast with Seasoned Gaming, is that I feel like their average age is like 98, and so you know they're all just a million years old. And when I say something like live service games are awesome, they're all like, "No, my favorite game is Resident Evil 2," and I'm like, "Bruh, what?" You know, so it's just very interesting. Yeah. I need to get in on this young game.
But, I mean, that's
How do I
kind
get
of the whole point, and that's why it's like anybody who comes in, so one of the comments was like, was going after you, and I didn't say anything because I don't want to engage in stupid people, but it's just like, Travis isn't going anywhere. Travis is staying, and it's like, honestly, the show is better since he came. I was like, that was one of the comments was
That's
like,
funny.
I mean, honestly, because having a good, diverse set of opinions, your knowledge about the gaming industry, the way you handle reviews, your critical nature, like all the things that you bring to it rounds us out to make us a better show. And
Thanks.
like
I
that's
like you
kind
too.
of
You know about perks. He knows this guy, Ebontis, he knows about every perk in the game, and he can tell you its current status in the meta.
oh,
It's
giving me too much
fascinating.
credit there.
No, he's really good. He's really
We'll have
good.
to test
He's
them.
a gang.
We'll have to test them.
He's a gangster.
Oh,
No, we should test
I
him.
might lose. Hold
We should.
on.
He's a gangster.
Let me
He's
pull
a
up.
gangster.
We're just gonna
I'm
pull something
just
out that's been sunset.
yeah.
Yeah. Cog has no purpose on the show. But yeah, you're really good. You know what you're
Definitely
talking about.
bashing him while he can't defend himself. He's loving it right now.
That's the goal. That's the goal. I'm hoping he's in the comments or
He
something.
walks in and be like, guys, what the hell? He's got to be getting here sometime soon, but I think he's driving back from PAX. He's been busy out there with defining Duke and PAX and Lords of Gaming, and that man probably is the only one who sleeps slightly more than you, but not much. You two probably duke it out over lack of sleep.
Oh, yeah. Well, he like binges. He's like a bear. He'll like not sleep for a while, and then he'll hibernate for 3 months. It's kind of impressive.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, every so often you got to recharge the batteries, which kind of takes me into what I was going to ask you is both. I wanted to kind of see how, I know you said, like, I kind of got the gist, but like, what made Destiny stick for you as a game like this long? Obviously, a lot of us have been playing for a while. And then what made content creation stick? Like, these are things like everybody can dabble, try things, but what made Destiny stick for you? And then what made content creation stick for you?
I think Destiny D1 was definitely different from D2 because I didn't dabble in like any content creation in D1. I wish I did, but I was younger. So I think for D1, it was kind of just like the loot incentive, and then also it was my first time in like a looter shooter game, but also a game that actually had like some skill gap to it. So I was always trying to get better, and then I think a month into D1, I got like a raid group, and we would just get on weeknights, weekends if we had free time then, and just raid. So it was the first time I had like a group of friends to just like constantly do the same activities with in a game like this that just wasn't like my buddies from high school that I was playing COD with. So that was cool. And then I think transitioning to D2, like, yeah, I still look at it this way now because there's so much in the game that like you're like, why am I playing this when they make weird decisions? But it's such a smooth game from like a shooting and moving standpoint. So I really love the way that like playing the game feels. And so that like keeps me coming back. Again, still like learning, trying to get better at the game. And then with content creation, it was one of those things where just like I built a PC, started making like Destiny was an obvious choice because that was the game I was maining. And I wanted to get into streaming. And then I did a bunch of research over like, probably a year as you're getting into things and you realize you can't really grow just streaming. So that brought me to YouTube, and then spent like another year trying to learn stuff on YouTube, kind of learn the algorithm, the meta, all that type of stuff. And I think I just got to the point where
Not wrong.
I was just like, screw anyone who says I can't do it. I just want to prove to myself that I can like make it to a certain margin and at least reach something and prove that I'm not going to be obviously the biggest person out there, but like I can at least get something done. And so I think I'm at that point now where I've proved that I can like grow on YouTube. We're getting to a point where like I'm pushing for partner on Twitch. So to kind of come back and circle back to that, it's a pretty rewarding feeling, I guess. So that's kind of always drove me to keep going.
I see you have Dim open. What are we looking at on Dim?
Yeah, I
What's
see it
going on
over there.
Dim is always open, man.
Dim is always open a lot of the time.
My postmaster is way too full. That is what we're looking at.
That's you and me live the lifestyle, and Travis is over here. He's like, all right, well, I've got 23 things in the vault now. I guess I got to pare it down to 20 again.
Yeah. I literally, when this new expansion started, I think I got my vault down to 12 or 15.
What do you mean? Like in total out of 600?
Yeah.
I got down to like 450 and I'm back at 550.
I got down to about 450 and I was happy to get down that far. And I'm just like, I don't know how you can get down to 20.
Just delete everything. It's pretty easy.
I mean,
the
I get how the task works.
If the item's locked, you just unlock it and then you hold down
F.
the delete
button. Is that what that F
button does? That's how that works.
You do. Yeah. It's tough.
Mine might be unbound or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Unbound. Like, I don't know why. It's permanently stuck and locked. It's weird.
I have to keep it all.
Oh, that's funny. And then
what about you guys?
Oh, go ahead.
How did you start in content creation? And Trav, how did you guys start with, or did you start with game reviews and things like that?
Trav, you can go first. I don't know if I've heard the old history.
Yeah, I started writing for when I graduated college. I wanted to work in games, and then I found out how much people who work in games make, and I went, okay, I'm not going to do that. So I got a day job, but I still wanted to do stuff for video games. So I found any outlet that would let me write for them, and I was working for $0, unpaid for the exposure, unpaid gigs. And I just started writing about games. I was on a news beat for a number of years, and then I started working on reviews and covering in-person events. And then one day, some of my friends at IGN said, you should write for us. And then I just started writing reviews and now do a whole bunch of stuff there. So I kind of got lucky. I just, right place, right time. I live in San Francisco, so I'm right next to, I'm like in the heart of games media coverage stuff, and made the right friends and connections, and eventually they gave me a shot, and then I just started doing content for them, and now I'm their de facto Destiny guy.
Yes, sir.
So,
yeah, you've got your name on quite a few things Destiny related.
I do, yeah. Just finished up IGN first, so I'm feeling good. But yeah, the answer is I just grinded, man. I did it like the old way. That's sort of nowadays considered like toxic, where you just work for like 8 years for free, but that's what I did.
Oh, okay, yeah. I feel like
that's people are like, like crunch culture and working, and not them not respecting your work and all that stuff. Like I dealt with all that, and to me, it was never about money. It was just I wanted to be involved in this thing somehow, this industry. I just had to be involved in it, and I never expected that it would turn into anything but a hobby that I got to do and felt happy to do. And the way I got into Destiny was right when Destiny came out, they were like, hey, Travis, you know a lot about Halo. You've been a Bungie guy for a number of years. And I think I had covered Halo Reach. That was like one of the first big games I ever covered. And they sent me to Bungie headquarters to check out Destiny before it came out. And we did what's called an on-site review. And I gave the game a 6 out of 10, but for some reason kept playing it all the time. And they sent me back to the Bungie headquarters every couple months for all of the new stuff that was coming out. I got to go and they weren't seasons back then. They were full expansions, Dark Below and House of Wolves, and they did on-site reviews for all of that. And so through that, I started becoming friends with people at Bungie, and it's also how I became friends with Destin, because Destin Legary was at all of those events. And one day he goes, wait, don't you work at IGN? And I go, yeah. And he goes, you should be on Fireteam chat. So yeah, that's how I met those
what
people.
Destin would say, bam.
Yeah, that's right. Back in the day. Welcome to, those were the days.
Yep.
Those were the days. Miss that guy. Don't get to talk to him too much because he's off being a dad, but Yeah, I got through.
One day before we end this show, we got to get him on here if we can try and squeeze
I
it out of him.
I will get him on here. He
Yeah.
he doesn't do a whole lot of podcasts these days,
Yeah.
especially long ones. But yeah, I will get him on here.
We
at
can
some
do an
point.
abbreviated show for the destined
For
guest
royalty.
appearance. Yeah.
Yeah,
All of our guests
I'll
are
bother
royalty.
him. I'll bother him. That's what I'll do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Destiny is funny though
I'll
because you were like was funny though. You're like the 6th that you keep playing. Destiny is probably the 7-ish game that I've played the most of in my entire life. It's the funniest thing because like, what's the best thing for me to reference you as? Because I was just about to say G, but that's gonna be just weird if I call you what?
G. I mean, G works. That's what
G,
everybody
all right,
calls me
G.
as. You can say Gmeiners too. That works too.
G. I mean, G's short and sweet, but it just sounds like, what
Yeah.
up, G?
What up, G?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. No, but it's weird how addicted we are to kind of the game, but it's always, I think, because everybody has a passion to see. It's like there's always potential that we see behind the curtain, and they keep getting some of it right, and then they get a little bit of it wrong, and they get a little bit of it right, a little bit of it wrong, a little bit of it right, and it's this kind of ongoing roller coaster that we're on the whole time. I was gonna say, Cog won't forgive me if I don't ask. So, subclass of choice and why, and if there's a journey in there, we got to know that too. Or class of choice, not subclass. Sorry, class and subclass. Class, yes, but subclass if you got one.
I'll just be going solar warlock all day. I don't think you can get around that purely because I like warlocks just because it was always like the space wizard thing. I was a big fan of Error back in the day. Not that I'm not now, but like he was the guy that I watched, and he was just always playing warlock. So that's how I got into warlock. And then now with all the movement tech that's in the game, like just well skating, ick dash, solar lock is so good.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, the Solar Warlock definitely for mobility feels very different than most of the other subclasses. So if you want to move around a little bit, that does feel like the right place to be. I know you said
what
there
was
you guys
mean?
Titan. I mean, I started as a hunter up until up until King's Fall. No, sorry, Taken King. And then Taken King, as soon as I got a solar hammer on my Titan, it was over. I literally went solar hammer Titan. And if I'm just going to have fun doing something, I will probably lean to that. I do, Void for survival and things like that. But if I was going to pick, it would be Solar Titan just because I love the hammer. It's too much fun.
Yeah. It's strong as hell too. Like you have I think it gets up to 71%. Like you're just, if there's a red bar, even on like day one, I think it still kills.
Oh, the bonk hammer's pretty solid.
Yeah.
What about you, Travis? What is your... I know your class, but I don't know if I know your subclass specifically.
I don't know if I have a subclass in D2. I feel like D2 does a pretty good job at making you switch, but in D1 I was locked on Defender Titan. That was just, as soon as I saw the bubble, I was like, for me, controlling the battlefield is like how I like to play games, doing things unexpected and changing the geometry of a PvP level or whatever. And so I was like full fun police, suppression grenade, take away your super and your
Why does that not surprise me in any way at all?
It's great. It was great, dude. I'd throw down my bubble, they'd charge me with their super, I'd throw a suppression grenade in my bubble, walk out of it, and then come back in and kill them when they didn't have any powers. That was sort of my go-to strat, and I will always identify as like a defender Titan. So that's my preference.
Fair enough. Well, the past week.
You? What are you? Arc Titan? Fist go bonk?
Me?
Is that your... Yeah.
Oh no, I said solar.
Solar.
Yeah. So Thunder Crash is fun, but being as it's one of our only few one-off supers because Titans have too many damn roaming ones. But yeah, Thunder Crash is fun for a time being. But no, I would generally say if I get a choice, and I'm not limited by activity, build, necessity to stay alive, survivability, I'll probably pick a Solar Hammer for just having a good time.
But Solar Titans are kind of posers, right? Because the first year of Destiny, there were no Solar Titans.
Well, I wasn't a Titan until they found Solar.
Wait, what were you? That
first year of D1, I was a hunter, actually.
Oh my god. Did we just uncover an imposter in our midst?
I've told you that multiple times probably before, but yeah.
But I wasn't listening those times.
Yeah, I know.
Now I have an axe to grind.
Yeah, well, I literally saw the light and never went back.
Great.
My
All right.
hunter is probably
I'll forgive you
my
then.
hunter's funnily enough now is my least played class, which is the funny part because I will alt to a warlock for like if I'm gonna start leveling a secondary one, I will typically go warlock before I will go hunter for even leveling. So hunter is just pretty neglected in my world now. So
Yeah, I don't know. I play them both so very little. I can't choose my least favorite. It goes back and forth.
I mean, I think the email I got was like 90% Titan and then 5% and 5% for the other two. So it was
Yeah,
surprisingly more hunter than I thought, but it was probably just leveling and bounties and basic stuff.
that is surprising. Also, you're a content creator, so it would like behoove you to play those classes more, and you
It
still
would
don't.
generally, yeah. Like
Yeah,
I know, but
it's
somehow I've
interesting.
managed to not. But yeah, I definitely need to mix it up more. No, I'm working through the campaign on my hunter, and since he's so neglected, I was like, all right, I don't have like artifice armor. I'm gonna like unquip every mod on my hunter. I'm gonna try and go to the like legendary campaign. I took like a basic pulse rifle and things, and then like the blues and purples that I'm getting, I'm just equipping them on my character since you're level capped anyway. And I'm trying to go through with just like no resistance mods, no high resilience or anything like that. Man, that legendary campaign feels different than when I walked in on my Titan and I modded out everything. I was 100 resilience,
Yeah.
resistance mods for like everything, and I was running exotics and just everything I could. And I'm going in now with just like a new person's loadout. I'm like, yeah, you got to play this game different. So I'm working on that
You
series
do.
right now of how anybody can solo it, like the legendary campaign. Sorry, I muted. Anybody can solo the legendary campaign with just a junk loadout. So that's a fun
Yeah.
experience right now.
Speaking of you replaying the campaign, can I call some folks out real quick? Because I was on Bitcast this weekend and I was talking about Destiny for some reason about how the campaign was disappointing.
Yeah.
And there were a whole bunch of people who chimed in the comments to say, yeah, Travis, the campaign was so disappointing that I paid to skip it on my 2 alt characters. And I could just think to myself, my God, Bungie is profiting from the fact that nobody wants to play their campaign because people are paying $40 to not play it on their alts. And if you did
I
that,
hate that exists.
if you did that, man, you are sending all the wrong signs to Bungie. You're guilty? You did that?
I skipped, but I skipped because I thought you were gonna unlock Strand and like all the other things. Plus, when it's like a new season, I just try and grind out videos. So I was like, if I can save 3-4 hours per class, I can get another video or 2 out this first week. So it's like
Got
the risk
it. It was
reward
a
is
business,
spending like
business
it's a business decision. Yeah.
$40 versus
oh
content.
my God. Oh my God. I mean, I get why you did it, but these guys, man,
I would never. If I wasn't doing content, I wouldn't. $20. If it was $10, I would understand it, but
20 was a lot. I was surprised it was 20. I was like
40. They did it on
40
both of their alts.
Yeah,
it's crazy. No.
Yeah.
I could understand even like when you get to the final alt and you're like, fine. But I was like, but no, I mean, I'm going through for content purposes, but it was interesting though, because the first time you play through it, you kind of get a little bit of the things are a little fresher. You're not quite as critical, but then when you finish up and you're like, all right, that may have not been the best. Then when you go back through the second time, now you're like, all right, I know what to look for. Let me be a little more. And that's when like your review is, I wouldn't say like generous, but it is very accurate to be like that 6 of the campaign. And it's like the certain things when you see, you're like, oh, this is just another like arena of ads. And like the, after again, as you described it, like Witch Queen with like mini raid mechanics and things like that. And it just, yeah, the second time through hits. The third time right now, it just feels totally different because I'm like trying not to die, which is a different experience. But my Warlock was very fresh, and then going right back for the second one, I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, anybody who paid to skip it, yeah, that's the second campaign experience kind of cements the 6 a little bit, I think.
Yeah, just don't reward them, guys. I beg of you, because I had to play through that campaign 3 times for my review, and I resent that fact.
Yep.
You know, I can't skip.
I'll be real though.
To play it.
Yeah. As somebody who is like a Destiny fan and wants the best game, like I'd be willing to pay double what I pay now per year. Let's say I think you pay like $100 a year. I'd be willing to pay $200 to really see them add more to the game. But it is hard throwing extra money when you know it doesn't go anywhere special. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's 100% agree. And that's where some people get in the debate of like, well, you're willing to pay $200 for a year. And some people are like, what about a, $12 a month live service or $15 a month live service, and then you turn around and you basically end up being that much, but you spread it out. So like the initial hit isn't that much, but you do the monthly service. And if they had that kind of revenue model that they could count, I don't know, it's that whole debate will go back and forth and piss some people off, and others would be like, that'd be totally fine. But no, and I'm with you. It's like I would imagine anybody who's a PvP main would happily buy support a map pack if they could just buy it, just to get more maps in the game right now. Just as not a map expansion. Here's a season pass, and if you want the map pack add-on, it's another $15. That would be the fastest silver spent in almost the entire community, probably, just to have more.
Yeah. If you had a community pool and it was once you reach this goal, we'll take the money. You get guaranteed new map, something like that. Guaranteed extra raid encounter, something like that. Yeah, I would. I mean, I'd do it. I think a lot of people would who play the game hardcore, but
yeah,
you say raid encounter.
Well, we're always going to get our money's worth. I feel when you're reviewing a game, you're reviewing it for the person who might not even make it through the campaign if it's bad enough. And I don't know. I mean, I would have made it through probably if I wasn't reviewing this, but you got to, I wonder how many people can we look this up? There's a
achievements on console probably.
Yeah, I know.
I know
there's services that let you see how many people beat certain games, because I think I was looking this up the other day, 43% of people made it through God of War Ragnarok, and there are all these statistics about how many people got through all these different games. I would love to see how many people didn't make it through the campaign. One of the people we know didn't make it through the campaign is Lance Reddick.
Sadly, yes. Yeah, he did.
He didn't make it.
He was on the last mission, right?
Yeah, he was on the last mission. Yeah.
What I heard. Yeah, I mean, there's literally some people, I'm literally doing the videos. I uploaded the first 2 episodes last night, and some of the comments where it's like, hey, ran through on my first character. I'm looking to jump in right now. I'm like, this feels like the content's a month late. And I'm just prepping some stuff that's for while I'm on vacation coming up, but still plenty of people just jumping in, getting ready to go through the campaign. So
nice.
Yeah.
So maybe my raid guide will be helpful to someone.
No, I mean, that's kind of the thing about
Gmeiners had his raid guide out the day
30
the raid
seconds
dropped
after he beat the raid encounters.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Well, speaking of raids, I actually did want to check with you guys just about the general feeling of Master Raid. I was about to say Master Ron, but Master Root of Nightmares. It dropped this week, and with some interesting feedback. We've got surges, we've got adept weapons, we don't have artifice armor, there's only 1 set of perks on the adept. There's a whole bunch of thoughts, so I kind of wanted to just get your takes on Master Raid, where we are at, as we're 1 raid away from final shape, and we still seem to be working through some raid reward and kind of issues and stuff, and I wanted to see where you guys were standing on that, and if you just smash through Master Raid either way. So, G, if you want to go first, where did you play the Master Raid this week?
I did do 1 clear, which I think speaks enough of itself, just doing 1.
Yeah.
We did the challenge. The challenge wasn't too hard, but I don't think either way, if they add difficulty to the challenges, I don't think it matters as much. I think the overall difficulty was a little bit lackluster. I think the -20 cap was definitely a step in the right direction compared to previous seasons where you could go in +10, +20. So that's definitely a good step in the right direction, in my opinion. Loot wise, I don't know, same thing. Artifice would be great. It should be in there. And like you said, double rewards would be good. I guess they mentioned adding the enhanced version of perks to these raid weapons, but is that coming later, I guess?
So yeah, you'll be able to enhance. I think it's with that, whenever they date the mid-season patch, which that must be a little fluid right now. That is, I think, when you'll be able to enhance the ones that you can get the ones you drop now enhanced later, so keep them. But yeah, I think that's when you'll.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a unique system or a unique idea, but to me, it's just how hard would it be to just say, hey, I got 1 version of the adept. Now when I craft it, let me just toggle on adept or something like that. I feel that'd just be a better system.
Yeah.
That way you don't have to go and still grind for the god roll and then upgrade it to the enhanced, if that makes sense. Because adept mods really aren't that worth it.
Wait, so explain this to me, because I've you can't craft an adept version of a weapon, right?
Correct.
If you unlock the regular version, then that's it. But you can unlock adept mods to add to a crafted version of that weapon. Is that what you're saying?
So you will get an adept weapon that drops, So like Master Raid drops an Adept weapon. What you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to take it to the Enclave and enhance it and basically unlock the enhancements. And as you level that up, then as you level it up from 1 through 20 now, since it's a levelable weapon, when you get to a certain point, like the third column, you're going to be able to turn the perk that is there enhanced, and then the fourth column, the perk that is there. You're not going to be able to change those. You still have to get the God Roll Adept weapon, and then you would enhance it to be able to make it
that's
better.
hella stupid. That's hella stupid.
That's why I was saying, just let us craft the Adept once we get it. Like, that'd just be such an easy... How hard would that be to implement too, you know? But...
I mean...
Yeah, so I
could go through
I
a
have
Master
no
Raid.
incentive.
Yeah. I mean,
Without the armor, then it's like, okay, you're just getting Adepts, which...
Yeah.
The crafted versions are arguably better than the Adepts unless you're really, really grinding for
unless you just get the lucky
a God
roll.
version.
5 out of 5,
yeah. Then why would you? Yeah, there's really no reason to play it. Man, I'm feeling pretty good about my decision to not play the Master Raid this week.
I mean, even our group, like, somebody was in our like Discord group that we've got, and they're like, "Hey, do you guys want it? Is anybody in here doing Master?" And I was like, I would rather put 2 quick clears in on regular, knock out my Titan and my Warlock. Takes like 3 hours, like 3 hours, 2 complete clears on both of them. You get your guaranteed red border from your first clear. You got, I mean, that's because I've only got 2 characters, my Hunter I'm working through. But yeah, I was like, I could spend 5 hours, get 3 complete clears easy. I mean, if you're fast, you could do it in 3. If you're not taking breaks, we're some older guys. We take a little break, we take a little slower. But I was like, you could knock every raid out in an hour and like have 3 of them done in 3 hours. And that Master one, it just, the extra effort doesn't feel worth it. And I feel like I probably use this phrase too much, but the juice isn't worth the squeeze. And on that one, I mean, you guys phrased it perfectly. You've got no Artifice armor. The fact that you can do Master Dungeons for Artifice armor. We had the duality bug, which I know a lot of people were farming. The armor drops at a 59, which is just stupid. Like the fact that the stats aren't even like, hey, if it was like guaranteed 64 and above, maybe that would help a little bit, but now it's still not Artifice. So you miss out there because now the stat Artifice is actually worthwhile. The fact that they gave you like 15 total stat points for free still floors me. They did that. This doesn't feel like a Bungie move, so I was honestly surprised they made that switch. And then, as you guys said, when you grind out the Adept weapon, you have to get lucky. You still have to roll the dice on those 2 perks. And the thing that I heard, I was like, I watched Cactus's afterwards because I was curious because he was like kind of up and down on it, was previous Master or Timeless or whatever you Harrowed, like those weapons, they had the 3rd and 4th column had 2 perks each. So you would still have a better shot to go after your God roll. But these only have 1 perk in the 3rd and the 4th column, so now you have a much lower chance of actually getting your God roll, which makes the grind that much harder. So now you've got armor stats that rotate like a stat bonus per week. So if it was like mobility, I definitely would care absolutely 0 as a Titan to get like mobility on my armor. And then on the fact that like you have to pray you get a God roll, you have to do the challenge for it. Or I can just go craft one that is like 99% the way there. And yeah, you got to unlock the pattern, but the amount of like effort and pain that you got to go through finding people who want to consistently do Master just does not feel worth it. I don't know if you go through and say, hey, you do a Master clear and you could like, if you complete each encounter, like do a full raid clear or something, and it tracks where you get each one. Maybe you get like a currency at the end where you can just like take it to the Enclave. You cleared a Master and you can take a crafted weapon and be like Adept. Something that you could earn in the Master Raid to be able to take your crafted weapon up a level feels like that would at least be worth the journey for sometimes. Yeah, you could eventually run it like 5 times and eventually be out, but it still would give you a reason to run it for a little while and then put Artifice armor in there, please. That seems like it. Chat, let me know, like, and you guys as well. Do you think there's any reason they don't put Artifice armor in a Master Raid?
Power creep?
But it's in Master Dungeons. It's in Master Dungeons.
Maybe they regret putting it in Master Dungeons.
They wouldn't. I cannot imagine they think that because they just gave us free stats like right now. Like they just added Artifice armor to actually have better functionality than it did before. So can't imagine they feel it's overpowered. It's just stats.
Maybe they just want you to have a reason to play dungeons. Maybe that's
the only thing I heard is literally like
Artifice armor is just a dungeons thing so that you'll play dungeons. And maybe it's because also you have to pay for dungeons separately. And so it's like an extra revenue stream for them.
But I was like, and if that is that's the only reason that I can come up with, and I'm with you. That's the only reason I saw, is that it could literally be a reason to go play dungeons. But if dungeons have certain
Pay to
weapons,
win.
and that's
Pay to
like the
win.
annoying part. I'm just like, if that is your only logical reason to say we're not gonna put it in here, so you have to go dungeons, that is poor, in my opinion, poor game design, poor loot design for your top end raid. Like that's again why they never hype up master raids, because they never make them a big deal. The raid's cool, big raid race, everything like that. Master raid is like, yeah, it's fine, go do that if you want to. But it's just like, if you want to check a box for a reason, but there's not much of a reason. I just can't figure that one out.
Yeah,
It just seems
a
like
lot
an
of the
easy fix.
decisions. I feel like a lot of the decisions Bungie makes just seem hyper like unlogical, which is very annoying because it's just like, it seems easy. You know what I mean? Add artifice. There's really not too many pros or cons. Do this, do that. Even when like what's it called? Crafting your weapons rolled out, it was still such a grindy system.
Oh yeah, that's
a lot of things.
That's a shell of what it even used to be.
Yeah. And so I feel like a lot of things they just have like an idea and they're like, that's good. And they put it out and they don't kind of like think, what if we did this? What if we did that? So it's kind of, I don't know.
Like commendations are a prime example of that. We've seen 2 pullbacks on those already. And I think everybody's feedback is right now they should not be tied to ranks or rewards, period. It should truly just be like the friend game. That's the only reason you should be doing commendations. And it's a cool system. A little more freedom of what you could actually give somebody for like a commendation, and keep them positive, that's fine. But tying them to loot, tying them to guardian ranks, they have 0 value. And again, it's like, if you would have asked the community or asked even a group of people enough to say, hey, should this be tied to? No. It would have been one of the fastest answers. I feel like you don't need a big sample size to figure that out, is all I mean.
No. Especially when I feel like the community is very torn too, from like, you have your hardcore players and your casual players. When both agree on something,
right?
I feel like you're just like, how did the devs miss that?
Yeah, that's an odd one to me, because as you said, it's like casual, hardcore, skill-based matchmaking or not, sweats for like, you got enough divisive issues out there when everybody seems to line up on one thing, like, and it took us one day to figure it out. We're going, this doesn't seem right.
Yeah,
that's Travis. Come on, I want. What's your brain churning on right now?
I'm wondering how much harder is Master Raid than the contest mode?
It's easier, I think.
You have surges like you do in like Lost Sectors and Nightfall. So you have the 25% bonus and overcharge weapons. Do you have overcharges?
I think you have overcharge weapons. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you have those because you have
like
champions.
Shoddies or overcharged.
Yeah, you'd have overcharged champion weapons and stuff too from the artifact. But you don't have a threat. So the incoming damage, like you have at a Nightfall or a Lost Sector, is not bumped up. So you only have the level cap, but you have the 25% surge.
Right. There's a few extra champions, but like with the surges and everything, and if you know how to bake champions, like everybody knows that at this point. So it's just like,
as a team,
slower,
I mean, solo player is one thing, but as a team,
right, yeah.
So I decided not to do Master Raid mostly because I didn't have time with all the other stuff I'm covering, especially Diablo 4 just wrapped up yesterday. But my kind of assessment on it was no artifice armor. I don't care about adept weapons because I can just craft one and not have to grind. And also, it sounds like a pain in the butt. But I guess honestly, contest mode for me wasn't super challenging, so I feel like I probably could do it. Maybe I'll do it so I can get my guardian rank up. Right? I assume that's one of them. Is that one of them?
I don't know if it's in there. It may be a high one for all I know, but yeah, we'll see. I'm not high enough.
It might be way up there. I bet you it's way up there.
Yeah, I haven't seen what that looks like yet, but there's a ship. There is a ship.
The ship is clean. The ship makes it worth it.
Kind of looks like a little lobster bug guy.
Yeah.
How much work is that? That seems like a lot of work. I was like, I need to put more time into Destiny.
If you get a Nezarec CP, those Colossus are just like anti-barriers. So we just had one runner, 2 people middle, 2 people dealing with the antis, and you're still one phase because you're dealing pretty much the same damage as normal, I think. So.
Oh, you're saying you get the ship just for beating Master. I thought you were saying that there's
maybe it's all encounters.
I thought you were saying for a guardian rank.
No, is it just a I think it's just a random drop from Nezarec, right? I think that's
the ship.
Yeah.
I think
I
we
feel
all
like
got it because
oh,
I think
you
you
did?
collect.
Oh,
I think
okay.
you collect it from the what's it called?
Triumphs or
The
something?
triumph. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe you just have to beat each encounter on Master and get it that way.
Maybe
Interesting.
maybe it is all encounters, but
Okay,
yeah,
cool. Either way,
Either
yeah.
way, if you're saying it's easier than contest mode, that doesn't sound that bad. So
no.
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, so I guess I'm happy that I didn't do it. But it sucks that I get the position they're in. They don't want to make it too rewarding because then it would feel mandatory, and there's so many players who have no interest in feeling pressured to do a master raid, and I totally get that. But as somebody who was on the fence, and I'm probably not their target market, but somebody who was already on the fence of like, will I do this or not? It definitely pushed me on the and don't bother with it side.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like the fact that Master Dungeons exist and the Artifice armor is there. The fact, like, and the difficulty would be the same. I don't know why somebody would feel compelled. They're either going to engage in Master difficulty on any of these like activities that we have, or they're not. So I don't know why they would pressure them, but it would be nice to reward the people who do choose to engage in that. And I feel like that's just, it does feel that point, like the high end. Same thing with Trials. Trials Flawless Chest should have Artifice armor, no question. If you are able to go flawless, yeah, it's easier for some, but how hard is it for the same people who are at that level of flawlessly running trials? They can probably do a master dungeon even quicker because those are just elite players as it is. So if you are able to actually go to the lighthouse, again, reward them. There seems like a couple things that they could do and they're intentionally choosing not to. And that's one of those, I would love to be in the meeting to understand why. What is the reasoning? What is the purpose?
Yeah.
What is the data? What's causing these decisions, which as a player feel like they should be there, that they choose not to? Is Artifice armor in a trials chest going to break anything? No. Does that actually reward a PvP player to spend a little more time in there? Maybe. Or is it that they want to force the PvP player to go play the PvE stuff? Maybe. But again, PvP could use a little love here and there, so I don't think that would hurt anything. Well, I feel like
Yeah,
Cog will be here soon too, by the way. So if we get a little transition moment, if things get weird, video gets funky, that's why. Anyway, continue.
No, I was gonna say it's definitely an interesting thing because I definitely play the game at a hardcore level, but it's also I feel like I have a good eye for like what other people want who don't have as much time to play in the game. But when it comes to like the loot and the rewards, I do think that's a hard thing to manage because if you make something like if contest mode or not contest mode, if like these master raids had an exclusive exotic that was broken, then I think that's a bad implementation of like rewards. But I think there's a balancing act where you can say this is enough where if people can't do this and they can't get this, that's okay that these other maybe better players got it and it's not going to hurt them too much. Yet we can give them this as a substitute at this level.
Yeah.
But right now it doesn't feel like there's much for that. Like even Comp just got their first emblem for being the highest rank in the game. You know what I mean? So it's weird.
Yeah. I think it's more like they're worried about that rich get richer.
Yeah.
And the poor get poorer thing where, you know, if you're good enough to do the master raid, then you getting more powerful stuff that other players don't have access to means you're going to be even better. I know that's something that they're worried about because Bungie's talked about that dynamic in the past. So they're in a weird spot.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, as you're saying, it's like, I know you don't want to give like, hey, these weapons do 10% more damage on everything. It's just something broken, obviously. It's like that.
Right.
That tends to get to be a little much. But as you said, like the adept weapons also don't ever feel, they're not enough so it's like, I don't know what is and isn't per se. I know they're finally getting to where at least you can enhance the perk, but the path to enhancing your actual god roll from a master raid is just a lot more RNG than it is just like consistency in the raid. Like you still have RNG to get the drops. Once you unlock the frame, you are 99% of the way there versus you could run a master raid 20 times and still not get the one roll that you're going for. And that's one gun, much less all of them. And that's where it's like, the time doesn't match for me.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, since you did do master, we did normal, we didn't do master. The challenge is one thing, but when you jump into master, would you prefer contest or do you like the champions in something like a raid?
It's a hard question. Everybody's always so like, give me contest mode, give me contest mode. I think if contest mode was added, And I mean, I guess it's already happening because I think Root of Nightmares was definitely historically one of the easier day ones. But I
Yeah.
think that would trivialize. My team would probably just start running contest mode raids all the time. That way, when the next contest mode raid comes, it's trivialized. It's super easy. So like, part of me is like, don't give it to us. But now with Master, I think it's close enough to contest as is.
Yeah, because
So
it is
I
level
would just
capped,
say
I
give us
guess.
contest. Yeah, give us like I would take away the surge, and then champions are like, sometimes like in Master Vogue, I remember the champions being a pain in the ass, but like
Yeah.
in this one, I didn't even feel the champions. So it is what it is. I don't know.
It's
Kind of
because
a
champions
indecisive
got a
answer.
nerf, though, right? Probably.
I don't think they've been. I don't think
know.
they've
They
got a
bec- they became,
specific nerf.
they became a lot easier to like break, right?
Well, we just
That
have
was
more
part of what.
options to
Oh,
deal with them more than anything. I think that I would say is
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
they're still the same mechanics. Like overloads can
There's a
still be a
lot more
little annoying, but yeah, I can
a
sit
lot
there
more
and like
stuff to like piercing and like
Yeah,
piercing
yeah, yeah.
barriers and stuff like that. So yeah,
Yeah.
I just remember thinking like, wow, they should remove champions from the game because they're so irritating. They make you play a specific way. And now I don't feel that way at all. Now I'm like, yeah, they kind of
Yeah.
just made champions kind of a joke, you know?
Yeah.
Like there's just so
Yeah.
all you have to do is use stasis and then you can suspend
Yeah.
literally any champion and then end them. It's
Suspend is
like,
broken, yeah.
Suspend is great
Yeah.
because I've used that on because like soloing Lost Sectors, the Perdition, for example, has overload minotaurs that will charge at you. And say you're
Yeah.
using a bow or an SMG or something, you can light them up and stop them in their tracks pretty quick. It's not hard. But as soon as they get unstunned and then they're just going to come marching at you and you can't do anything about them for a little while, I finally just as a solo switched over and just like, and you've got the thing for Strand where if you do damage, you get your grenade back. So I'll throw a shackle grenade, chunk him in the air, and then kind of do some damage to him, wait for him to land, stun him there, do some more damage. And then by that point, I've probably got my grenade back, throw him in the air again. So you can just sit there and just juggle them up and down in the air. So they really are a joke. It's just kind of a
Yeah.
time sink that you have to do. So that's, yeah, it is. We have a lot more ways to manage them, but yeah, they're just, I think Vow Contest we didn't quite get there on Vow Contest, but I think that one actually felt good when we did that one because it was the third encounter especially, and we're not like the best team. We're decent. Like I got lucky enough to get with a pretty good group of guys, but we're not on your level where you just go, we're gonna go smash master and be done. We didn't do that. But when we did Vow, and it was like the third encounter because you had to like trade and look and talk about the symbols and
Yeah.
everything. When we beat that on contest, that one felt like a well-oiled machine that just and we nailed it. And when we got it
Yeah.
right, it felt good, but it felt like balanced and fair, but it was still a challenge. And that's where contest felt good. This time around, yeah, Root of Nightmares contest, we were like, this feels easier, and we didn't understand quite what happened either. So like those two
Yeah.
felt different. And then contest for Kingsfall, we hit War Priest and it was just a DPS wall, and we're like, well, this kind of sucks
DPS
too.
check, yeah.
Yeah, so it was, and that's like, do you have the perfect mod setup weapon from your vault 2 seasons ago that not everybody, that's also the moments where it's
Yeah.
like contest shouldn't be built around having to be quite that way. If you understand the mechanics,
Right.
then it shouldn't just be like, can you be perfectly modded out? That doesn't feel like it's
Yeah.
totally necessary either. So it's like there's a spectrum in there, and somewhere, I don't know.
They gotta find a better balance. I agree with that for sure. Yeah.
But even if they don't, at least make it more rewarding.
Yes.
Even if you don't, you know what I
I
mean? Like
mean-
that'd be great if the challenge was also perfectly tuned. But like even if it's not, just like, you know, give people a reason to do it. Or, you know, make the content more fun. Then people will do it even if the rewards aren't that good.
Yeah. I know like people are like hit or miss on armor, but I mean Master Raid giving you like a different set of armor ornaments, like the way the armor looks like unique. It looks very, I almost want to say buggy, but it looks very kind of weird. It has like
Yeah.
exoskeleton kind of look to it. If they
Titan.
But then you look at the
Interesting.
season of Defiance armor, and it's like royalty and gold and like ornate and everything. I'm like, all right, so you got some cool armor sets. I'm like, if there was artifice armor, maybe you got a chance at like an armor ornament dropping in Master, and then adepts were craftable, or there was like a currency for craftable. I feel like those would give, or like, and you got to make that Master set of armor badass. You just have to, but it's cosmetic. But if you see somebody walking around or somebody shows a picture or whatever, and you see the cosmetic armor from the Master Root of Nightmares, and you either look like Nezarec, you look like the like traveler vines that are going through, like there's so many cool looks I think they could pull inspiration from in there because the place looks amazing. you get a set of armor that looks like that, I may never take it off. And then I would potentially go in there.
Yeah, they I don't know if you're familiar with the emblem. I forget exactly what it's called. It's like you sit and you're on like Callus's throne and you're twirling like a goblet and drinking that.
Oh, the emote. Yeah,
You know that emblem?
Yep.
Or emote, not emblem. That was rewarded, I believe, only from Master Spire or the Prestige Spire.
Yeah.
I ran that until I got it because I was like, that is the dopest emblem
Me
or
too.
dopest emote ever.
Yeah, it took me like
that's
35 runs or something like that.
Yeah, that's incentive as enough, you know, just make something look cool. Because I think the team that does the aesthetics, the armor, the raid setting, they always crush it.
Right.
So if you just lean more into them, I think people would feel more rewarded, you know?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I was like, so hey, Bungie, we love you, but we got some options and we can help. So we'll just take a little bit off the top, you know, 10% finder's fee, and you know, we'll be good. Totally fine. Gmeiners, it was a good show for you to be on. The payout will be coming. It's in the mail. Checks in the mail. I did want to ask you guys though, last week with like Iron Banner and the trials and everything else, before we get into just kind of the TWAB and Sandbox changes, and I know Cog will be here momentarily, so he'll probably pick your brain for a bit. How did Iron Banner wrap up for you last week? And then how also was trials before that, since I haven't actually asked you yet on that one?
I played Iron Banner a bit. I really just wanted the SMG because I play PvE. I'm a PvE main, so I try and stay away from PvP as much as I can. But I got that SMG pretty quickly. I love the focusing. I think the focusing is great. As far as how Iron Banner felt, I know when we would 6-stack, I did it once on stream. We were doing a duo and we got done that. And then we ended up, I just played with viewers in Iron Banner. So non-calming 6-stack going up against other 6-stacks was brutal.
Okay.
I think we lost every game.
Oh, wow.
But it's
Really?
Iron Banner, so yeah.
So like the 6-stacks were actually working together, like a lot of them were.
Yeah, they were destroying us. So I'm also trash at PvP. So there's that. But trials felt really good. I think it was last week the Immortal Week or the weekend before.
Last week. It's my weeks are messed up. But yeah, the week before, I guess.
So okay. So that week I went flawless, I think twice, and just had fun playing. Like it was good. The matchmaking felt good. I wasn't going up against anybody who was like way better than me. Sometimes I'd go up against people who were way worse, which is hard to be worse than me. But it felt good.
I'm
and
guessing
it felt
you're
smooth,
better than you're giving yourself credit for if you're like the PvE beast that you are. You're not going to be that bad at the game.
I'm like a 1.3, 1.5 KD. Like I can do my role and maybe a bit more, but I'm not.
You're not going to carry, but like there, 3 of you on a team is probably going to do 3 of you on a team is going to beat 3 of me on a team. I'll tell you that.
Okay. Yeah. So trials felt good. The SMG is so good, but yeah, I don't know. It felt good to me.
Did you get your rangefinder target lock or anything like that? No.
Nope. I did not, unfortunately.
Travis, where's PvP been for you, or were you just stuck in Diablo land and missed it all?
Yeah, I didn't play any Iron Banner. I don't think I got a single match in.
I mean, you were busy, man.
I really liked Trials. Trials made me happy, but yeah, Iron Banner, I was like, do I want to do that? And then I thought about the grinding for the Iron Lord pin that I've got behind me, the seal, and I was like, I'm good. I played a lot of that last time, so I still need to get the damn armor from D1, the knight armor.
Oh, is that the one that's in there right now? The set with the like
the plumage.
Yep.
Yeah, I need to get that, which I'm so upset that they're making me grind for that again. But yeah, I need to finish grabbing that armor set. I'm still missing it.
Yeah, I got the destabilizing rounds and feeding frenzy roll. I got 2 actually. I dumped like every engram I had, and the other side is like okay on both of them, but like those 2 together, I've been messing around with that one, and I love volatile rounds when it's in the artifact.
Yeah,
because it's better than ever because you can swim in orbs. Like it's funny when you go into Battlegrounds right now, if you break a shield,
oh yeah,
you see like 20 orbs pop when you have some of those groups of ads. It's hilarious right now. See, I'm picking up an orb and then going volatile is fun. So I've been using my retrofit escapade, and then that thing I'll throw on there. Just constant explosions most of the time. It's fun. Like Giant Battlegrounds, I've almost got all the weapons crafted out of there. I think I've got 1 or 2 to go. I know you did a video on the Volt Shot grenade launchers. That's like, I think one of my last ones I'm going to get. I've been unlucky. I've got almost everything else. But yeah, Volt Shot on a GL. I'm like, hello.
Yeah, it actually feels pretty good.
Yeah. Especially for, and I know like GLs for clearing like groups of ads, especially if they won't be shielded. That thing's gonna be fantastic.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say I did test out the. A lot of people told me that they weren't fans of the destabilizing rounds just because it would apply it but then wouldn't kill. So I think because I was testing it out without I took volatile flow off the
Yeah.
artifact. So, but it honestly felt great on Titan. Like if you run Titan in
Yep.
PvE with controlled demo, I think it's one of the best SMGs you can run with. So I'm glad I have it at
Really?
least. And I think it's worth for that aspect.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
That's
and
cool.
that fits really well because I actually forgot that
Yeah.
you said that. I mean, and you can pair. So like the weapon feels like that'll be energy slot. It's harsh language is the grenade launcher. I have it
Yeah.
on there. That's where it feels really good because as a special,
Okay.
it'll like it's a wave frame, so it blows through the ads, and then you just get it's close. It's about as close as I can get for Void to get a forbearance, but it plays with the Void build and
Yeah.
loadout and everything really well. Again, for a Titan, with as you said, with the certain loadouts for Titans, especially, and then Gerfalcon Hunter's another one as well. Like there
Oh,
are
yeah.
certain Void setups that those can pair with. So yeah, Hero's Burden, Harsh Language, destabilizing on both of those. You can have a lot of fun. You just got to lean into it a little more than you might once Volatile Flow's gone. But even right now it's a ton of fun. But I think later on
Yeah.
it'll still be decent. Well, do you guys want to talk about the TWAB? Hoping Cog would be here, but thinking he'll be
Yeah,
here soon.
He is leaving us at the altar. He messaged
Yeah.
me and said, "I'm not coming. Get wrecked."
Oh, he said he's
So-
close and parking. He said that 1 minute ago, so he's getting close.
No, he said, "Get wrecked. I'm never gonna show up."
We'll talk about the hot fix real quick.
Tell E it was me. I want him to know. That's what he said.
Always trying to poke the bear, huh? Always trying to
Go ahead. Go ahead.
ruffle some feathers.
Read your TWAB. Read your TWAB.
Well, the hot fix, we got an issue where trials passages were getting like unfocusable trials engrams, which was weird. Neomuna free roam, they reduced the prevalence of elite, which is orange health bar enemies, to lower the base difficulty of free roam. I will tell you, when I did that, when I was running through my like hunter, who's like very unmodded or anything, and I think it's literally the first mission. You land and you've got to get to Strider's Tower, but it's when you're going through a Himsa Park, and they just keep spawning ads in there, and I'm just on a very poorly equipped hunter. That place was rough. Like, just try and get through. You could walk through it, and I was struggling to walk through it. The guys are so rough in there. So, yeah, I mean, the free roam on Neomuna definitely can hurt. And then they said they fixed an issue that caused Cabal turrets in Ahimsa Park to respawn too quickly. I believe that because I saw them a lot. Root of Nightmares fixed an issue where Nezarec would not react to players that were positioned in a Well of Radiance. I don't know if that was actually fixed because I heard after this it's not entirely. It's still bugging out.
That's what I heard too.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that may still not be totally great. Difficulty, and this kind of goes into more of the discussion later. So in the hotfix today, they said combat health scaling for 2 and 3 player fire teams reduced in the season 20 legacy exotic or legendary exotic mission. So if you've gone in there with a group and struggled before, they're still gonna hurt, but hopefully they don't have quite as much health, which will be good because that place is brutal. I still got to work on before I go on vacation. I want to solo flawless that legendary version. So we're gonna see how hard that one is, which is gonna be a bear. And then reduced enemy health in legend and master tier, Nightfalls, Battlegrounds, Lost Sectors, offensives, hunts, legend, and master campaign missions. They reduced the enemy health in all of those. Now they said nothing about how much they reduced it by, but they technically did reduce it, so we don't know exactly if it was 5% or 20%, but they are less. Yeah, when you're shooting a red bar over and over and over and they don't even die, it doesn't feel great. Things were a little bit spongy. For the UI UX, they said they reduced the commendation score required for Guardian rank 7, 8, and 9. They lowered it from 460, 790, and 1290 to 200, 477, and 910. And everybody's like, you can just take it all the way out, but it's still in there. They removed Guardian ranks that require players to give commendations from rank 7, 8, and 9, so you don't even have to worry about giving them, so as long as you have a score. Reduce the number of commendations required for Hawthorne's weekly challenge from 20 to 5. Like, at that point, that's
crazy.
That's just basic. It may as well be a joke. They need to change that because like 5 commendations a week, and you can get a pinnacle.
You just do a raid, and you're good. Yeah,
like 1 raid, and you're probably good. So, and then general fixes, they said reduce number of additional scorch stacks added by flare up artifact perk in PvP to 15, down from 30. Scorch was getting a little potent. They said they fixed an issue where target lock was not correctly deactivating on a miss if the weapon was firing at 720 or higher. So the delay for target lock was, and is the immortal, it's a 750. Yeah, so I think it crossed that threshold. So I think that was one of the ones where you could miss one and still keep target lock bumping up, which was helping. Fixed an issue where some players weren't unable to acquire Risk Runner Catalyst. And a good thing, Quicksilver Storm and Touch of Malice are getting their damage bonus, and we'll talk about how they're going to be better. But the Quicksilver Storm feels much better now. They had some issues with ghost weapon mods. Certain new players couldn't access patrol destinations. Yeah, as we know, Destiny is living, breathing, always got something to fix kind of thing. For the TWAB, I'll kind of intro it, and then I'm sure Cog's going to get in here in a minute.
Told you he's not coming.
They said they're going to preview their mid-season update, answer a question about one particular weapon players were searching for, behind-the-scenes look at placeholder animations. By the way, if you guys listened to the sound article that they did, I think it was yesterday, about the sounds of Lightfall, like the music and then also the sound effects, there's some cool moments in there, so make sure you guys go check out that blog post. That was cool, and then, yeah, the big ones are just kind of like the mid-season update that we've got coming. But I wanted to talk to you guys as we are wrapping up. We've wrapped, I would say, unless there's an epilogue, which we never know until it gets here. Season 20 for the story, for the PvE section. How did the kind of finale, now that we got the finale, actually land for you guys? I know last week was a bit of a surprise for a lot of us.
Yeah, I know. I'll be real. As far as lore and story goes, I just skip everything. So I know, I know something went down with Amanda Holiday last week and stuff, but like, I don't know, that stuff I could care less about. So I didn't do this week's mission either. I don't think I did last week's mission.
Sounds like a mechanical engineer brain there for you.
So you're not a PvP guy. You skip all the story. What are you playing Destiny for, sir?
I like the challenges. I like the PvE challenges. That's pretty much it. That is pretty much it. I think the lore is dope. It's just under a lot of circumstances, there's like a 3-minute cutscene to explain 10 seconds worth of stuff happening. And I'm just like, my friend can explain it to me when I have no idea that I'm like, where's this character been? And they're like, yeah, they got killed off like 4 seasons ago. I'm like, oh, okay. Thanks for explaining that now.
Travis, did you get a chance to finish the story this week?
I did. Okay. Yeah, I played it the day it came out. Yeah, this season was not good.
So give me your rundown and opinion on what makes like a seasonal storyline and content good.
Yeah, I think the main things for me are it has to move the needle in some meaningful way on one of the many plot points that Destiny seems to refuse to close the loop on. And a lot of times they either spend the season just sort of like adding on to it or dancing around frivolously, like I would say they did in Season of the Haunted or Plunder, where it sort of didn't really go anywhere. It just sort of you could have skipped it and not played it at all, and you wouldn't have missed anything.
Well, it was like it was like a flashback episode where you get like information about characters and stuff, but it doesn't move the current plot forward. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. You could just cut it off. This was like the weirdest season because it was basically, hey, there are some unnamed humans that you need to go save. So there were basically no stakes. And then we're going to kill Amanda for seemingly no reason. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
And I mentioned this last week, but I think the reason they did it is because in the cutscene of Lightfall, it looks like Amanda died, so they had to kill her for the people who don't play seasons. You know what I mean? So that way she's not still alive next year in the final shape for people who didn't play the seasons. It was like an EU episode where we find out what happened to Boba Fett. You know what I mean? Boba Fett falls in the Starlight Pit, but then if you watch, his show, you can find out what really happened. And it just sort of felt really underwhelming. I honestly couldn't tell you, aside from Amanda dying for seemingly no reason, what happened in this season. Basically, it was like we saved some unnamed humans from a Cabal threat that had no face, just random Cabal that were attacking.
Yeah,
pretty much covers it. It's like there were prisoners maybe from the last city, or people who were like kidnapped and then kept in pyramid prisons that were landing But outside of that, I mean, yeah, there was no face to the villain. It's like we know obviously what's going on Neomuna was Nezarec and the Nightmares, and then we had the Veil, which we still don't know much about, a little more, but not much. And then the Witness, obviously doing his Traveler thing. But yeah, why the Shadow Legion felt like capturing people and keeping them in darkness prisons on Earth? No clue. Like mostly not much of a reason for that, which seems very weird. Yeah, so it's well, even if you compare, like, we know some of the seasons typically are longer when we get away from an expansion. Like, usually the
Right.
season with an expansion typically shorter. But last season, last time with Witch Queen, we had Season of the Risen. So we had the 3 run-throughs with the 3 different Hive Guardians, where the Scion is trying to break through and understand what's going on with the Hive Guardians, kind of tied into Witch Queen really well, because you have the Hive Guardians trying to understand like what their tie is to the light or anything going on there. And then at the end, Bro royally screws up, nearly is gonna have to set basically bite the bullet and, get killed. And then Brackus Forge, who, Lord Saladin says, no, take me instead. And then he goes up, kicks ass at the council, which you read about in the lore, and now he's Brackus Forge, and now you've got the, Iron Banner. It feels like nothing remotely possible at all is gonna come like that from this season. Like Season of the Risen had stakes. We literally have, the Cabal Iron Banner now. Nothing this season feels like it can affect anything going forward, besides the fact that we have one less person in the tower, which sucks. Like, it's weird. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, I mean,
Where am I going to get my Bungie rewards stuff from?
Is
My
he purely
Twitch
Bungie
drop.
rewards?
My
Oh,
Twitch
it's Prime,
dropped.
right?
Yeah, Prime.
Yeah.
My
Prime Gaming
stuff. Yeah.
Prime Gaming. Yeah, maybe
Come on,
Prime Gaming. Maybe that agreement is done. So that's why.
Oh, so she was the Amazon character. They killed off their Amazon relationship. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, this season feels weird because, I mean, you have the Lightfall campaign, didn't land well for a lot of people, a lot of questions about the Veil. Callus felt very empty to me. Witness, I love that character, but definitely not enough, so we gotta wait for him. And then we have this season that kind of does the same. It's like, okay, we're like Mara's like allowing us to kind of. I love the Battlegrounds, like the looks bouncing between the realms, kind of doing the activities, feels like engaging. I haven't done the legend yet, but the normal one, it's a fun activity. Why I'm doing it is a whole different question. And that's the thing. It's like you made a cool activity this time, but unfortunately, it's like before, it's like I knew exactly why I was doing, expeditions like treasure hoarding and stuff like that, but we all hated the activity. Now we have a fun activity, we just don't know why we're doing it. It's like, can you just like make it all make sense on one of the seasons? I mean, Seraph was amazing, and that's the problem. You had Seraph, you had Witch Queen going into this, and now it's like the season's not as good, the expansion's not as good, and we're just kind of going, just kind of a bummer.
What made Seraph a good season for you guys, other than like exotic mission, the loot, Icalo stuff being back? Was the storyline good?
I enjoyed it, but that's I was gonna say, Travis. I'm not sure where you landed on that story.
Interpretation.
I actually think it wasn't too bad. It was one of their better seasons because it had consequential like forward momentum. It had a cutscene, which I guess jury's still out if this will happen in this season, but I really doubt it.
Yeah,
But it had a cutscene at the end that sort of set up Lightfall, had the Traveler move, and just we had a also another character death, which I feel like they're getting rid of all their EU characters one by one because they got to wrap up.
but this one felt
story.
1,000 times better. Like
It did. It felt way better in terms of that. And I also knew what we were doing in the Seraph story. Like every single week, it was like, okay, we're reassembling the War Mind, and there's this question of like, can we actually use the War Mind, or if we use it, is that just going to make our enemy stronger? And it was kind of every week we were getting a little bit of the story, and then there was a final payoff. This week was like, or this season was like, hey, you have to save random humans. Every week we're going to go and save some humans, and then Amanda's going to die for no reason. That was the whole season.
But the week before was like, here's the history of Amanda. Like, here's her growing up, how she got into being a pilot, how she feels as a pilot, the stuff she's able to do. She's cool.
That stuff was cool.
Like that thing was cool. And the next week we lost her. I'm like, why would you give me a backstory on a character we knew very little about in the first place to kill her?
Yeah.
Now, like the big speculation some people may wonder is like, are we going to raise her as a guardian? Is she going to have like a ghost that brings her back, and is she going to be a guardian? Now, she's not the same person if she comes back, clean slate and all, but it feels very weird to have, yeah, as Travis said, you have Rasputin, the well-known Warmind, backstory with Anna Bray, you've got Elsie going on, we dealt with Clovis last season, so you had all, like, whole bunch of characters from, like, Beyond Light that we interacted with, and Rasputin ended up doing this sacrificial move of blowing himself up and, like, literally deleting himself from existence so that Ziva or Wrath did not have the power to do what they did, or that they wanted to do with the invasion. That, compared to this one, not even close. So it's like, for me, as Travis said, a story, and even for, like, Season of the Haunted, oh, lost Travis for a second. Sometimes that'll happen. But for, like, the story, for even Season of the Haunted, for me, just even learning more about, like, Zavala's backstory, hearing Callus and Caiatl, like, have the back and forth discussion that they had, and then Crow kind of getting a little, it was a bit of an emotional roller coaster, like, oh my god, I can't face everything, and then like the next week, Crow resolved everything with Aldrin. So it's like you went through a roller coaster, but like there was character resolution. People were getting a little, even that one, even though it didn't move the story forward, I still feel did a better job than this season. And that one was still kind of a neutral season in comparison to some where, like, you know, like Risen was short, but we now have Caiatl. We have a Guardian sitting on the War Council for the Cabal. Like that changes our relationship with the Cabal. This one, we got to hang out with Mithrax, which is a cool dude, but we didn't get to, like, there wasn't much about it. So it was just
okay.
Yeah, like Marasov, cool character, lived for thousands of years, all of those kind of things. But again, she's just sitting there in the farm, hanging out like this, keeping the Ascendant Realm open, which is cool. And that's like the way we can, like, bounce between the realms, and it looks cool. But outside of her doing that, she didn't really have to be there either. She and all of her cosmic universe, and so it's like the scale of things just didn't make sense this time. So I was like, that's for me.
Okay.
Like Travis said it well. The story, it's nice if it moves. It's better if it moves forward. Those are some of the better seasons. Like Season of the Chosen is probably one of my favorite examples of when we, because it was like proving grounds, going through that season, getting the strike, and actually eventually getting Caiatl as an ally. Like, that's a season where you move things forward, you get a cool story, progression through the weeks of, like, hey, here's the assassination attempt on Zavala. What the hell happened here? Okay, I'm going to go send somebody after the Scions. And those are moments where things move. And this one, it just feels like there are filler episodes, there are backstory episodes, and then this was like the musical episode of a TV show when it's like, we just don't have anything for this episode. Nothing important is happening here. And that's how this
I worry that's this entire year, because the expansion felt almost like that exact same thing. It was like a filler episode that they clearly were, like, not ready for the finale. And so the fact that the main expansion story was filler, the season of that exact same expansion was also filler. Like, this is why I keep saying on the show that I'm worried about the next year of Destiny.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's like, are you, as somebody who doesn't care as much about the story, are you worried about the next year of Destiny, sir? Sir G? Hog is taking his sweet time to park, by the way.
I'll be real. I always bounce back and forth between being worried and being, what's it called? I went into this season excited, like really excited, because they were doing a big overhaul to builds. They were doing, like, all this quality of life stuff that I was like, okay, that's going to make my life easier for making build videos, making other content. I'll have every build that I could have ever made before I could remake, stuff like that. So from, like, that standpoint of, like, the meta and the sandbox, I went in with, like, a really positive mental, and then got here and I was like, oh, Lightfall kind of sucks a bit. And we lost a lot of mods, and I can't make that many more builds. And some of the builds are just a bit lackluster, so it's hard to get excited about. So I don't know. I always kind of bounce back and forth. Like, I am worried. I'm not worried. Oh, it looks good. It looks bad. So yeah, I don't know. It seems like things right now are on a steady decline, but it kind of always seems like things are on a steady decline. And then you get something else, and you're like, oh, now we're back. The game's great.
Yeah.
You know, so it's hard to judge.
That this isn't the first time we felt like it was going downhill, and then all of a sudden, you know, Witch Queen gets pulled out, and you're like, whoa, what the heck? This is super good.
Yeah.
So
The Destiny roller coaster is exactly that. The ups, the downs, some are high and some feel really low. It's like you have your, Destiny 2 and Curse of Osiris, and then you have your Forsaken, you've got your Beyond Light, and then you've got your Witch Queen. It's like we go through kind of some of these moments. But, like, so the next year, obviously we're gonna have 3 different seasons. We're gonna have a dungeon next season. There's, Season of the Deep. We know the name, so there's, everybody can speculate of what you think that's gonna be.
We know
Theoretically,
what that
pretty
is.
cool if it's gonna be hive related, which feels like it's got to be. Um, so there's potential there, but for you, especially somebody who enjoys the builds, the PvE aspect of things, do you think it's realistic to hope that we get new mods in future seasons? Because I know that's one thing you said we lost quite a few. Do you think that's
I
something
would
they can build into?
I would say I expect the next time we'll get new mods would more than likely be the final shape, because I think they were doing something with the sandbox and we were getting mods each season. I forget that I'm bad at seasons. This was before I even made content, but this was like after Beyond Light, I think, or pre Beyond Light, when it was like what was it? Saint was reintroduced, and we got a lot of the, I think it was Warmind Cell mods,
Yeah.
and then eventually Elemental Wells, and so they started doing that, and then eventually they just stopped. And so I think with this rework, it seemed very much so that like they took all these mods that they had, condensed them into one mod system. So you had stuff for grenades, melees, these abilities, those abilities. So I don't think we're gonna get anything new for a while, but I don't know. We'll see. I just don't think that's their MO. I don't think that's their main focus, is to like keep improving the sandbox in that essence.
Travis, do you think he's on the money? Do you think we actually see any mod updates? I think they said Strand we're gonna get aspects or fragments. Which one did they say was coming in these seasons to build out Strand? We were getting something, right?
Yeah,
I think
I think
aspects, right?
I think they'll update some stuff here and there, but I think G's probably on the money where we're not going to get any major updates for a pretty long while. And with that, Cog enters.
What's going on, gentlemen?
I don't even know if he plays Destiny anymore. I don't know if he counts as a gamer, but he's here.
Yeah, I'm the hardcore. I represent the elite of the elite, the Lord of Lords, the guys that do these things. What's going on, man? G-Miners E, what's up?
What
Good
is
to see ya.
up? I am trying to get him in here, guys. Give me a sec. I gotta move windows around, so I'm working on it.
That's what she said.
Move windows around? Yeah, that's so
Yeah.
Talk to me dirty. Come on, Travis.
Yeah.
Ah, ooh, it's spicy.
Are you drunk, Cog? What is this?
Hey, I may have a little bit of libation.
Oh.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I feel like you are
I was like-
definitely
I was
tipsier
like,
than
he's
normal.
he's
Yeah,
acting pretty
things.
happy.
Yeah,
For,
he's a little loose right now.
You know, it's a nice night. It's festive.
Yeah, the PAX festivities have been had because you're loose.
Mm-hmm. What are we talking about, gentlemen? What's going on?
We were talking about season 20 kind of wrapping up. Let's see if I can do this smoothly. Bam. All right.
Oh,
beautiful.
all right.
I need a background though. There we go.
Look at that transition. Look at that. Look
Not
at
bad,
that professional
not bad.
podcast.
Yeah, we
I
have
like
moments.
this. I like this.
It probably looked like crazy for a little while there, but
Yeah, you got to eat.
Still counts.
because I always have to put all the windows right. If I could just like pop you guys in and not label everybody, that'd be easier. But I'd over try.
No doubt. What's going on?
We worked through Master Raid, kind of the
Yes.
miss that kind of is in a lot of ways for rewards and things of that nature. And then also we were trying to think, because we were talking about something before season 20. Oh, we talked about a little bit of the hotfix.
Yeah.
A couple things in there, and then we're just kind of getting into season 20 since we had the end of season 20 with the kind of the wrap up and just like what makes a good season. So that's what G was asking us, was what makes a good season for you? Because Travis was basically saying this one did not deliver. So what makes a good season for you, and why? What's a good example of one? Did this one deliver for you? Where did this one land? So I mean, kind of get your take since you're coming in, and your inhibitions have been lowered, so we will get the freshest and hottest of takes.
The freshest, the rawest. No, I mean, I guess for me, the playlist activity is key. Like last season's playlist activity, I really, really enjoyed that loop. We had the difficulty scaling. With this one right now, I feel it's a little bit on the longer tooth of things. I don't mind the narrative aspect with, going to save the prisoners and the Shadow Legion and all that good stuff. But I think, it is a bit on the long side. I do like that they are trying to do things with the other characters. Did we get into the whole Amanda situation? I'm assuming, or no?
I mean, we talked
Last
about
week.
it last week. We talked about
Right.
obviously, but I mean, this week we hadn't really touched on, I guess the final words that were kind of said this week, which hit a little, I think, a little bit more. But
Right.
also, what Travis was basically saying was this season didn't move much. Like nothing really.
Yeah.
There were no stakes. I mean, he said there was a faceless cabal for whatever reason, and we're saving unnamed prisoners that have no. So like, why are we doing any of this? What's it for? And then Mara's just standing out in the farm doing this kind of thing the whole time. But I'm with you. It was like the activity is cool. I enjoy
Yeah.
it. Like it is a longer activity, but like I'm engaged. Like I enjoy playing
Yeah.
through it. I enjoy making a whole bunch of things explode with all. So I'm having fun. But like the why of the season, that one didn't hit for me either.
Yeah.
So that's kind of
And
why that's where we were
yeah,
at.
I think on its own it would have been fine, but the problem is the elephant in the room has been what the Lightfall campaign didn't necessarily move anything. And then to me, the only issue I have is we're having serious quote unquote loss with Amanda post, the Lightfall campaign. I think it may have hit a little bit harder during. I don't know. It's just this weird disconnect between the seasonal content and this. But the season content is actually more engaging than the actual story of Lightfall. But I just feel the timing of it afterwards just feels a bit weird, a little bit off.
Yeah.
To me, as far as the overall for the season, I think the grind for the weapons, I'm actually really enjoying. I think the gameplay in the Sandbox is still top notch. I still I just got the sword. I got incandescent on it. It's phenomenal. The G launcher, what is it, Regnant or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. I got an explosive light, Envious Assassin. I'm trying to get the auto loading holster. Obviously we did the patch today, so I want to bust out the Strand exotic, that Quicksilver Storm.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh,
Because they got the buff with that. So to me, my enjoyment has been with the Sandbox, the loot chase. That's what's been driving me. There's so many cool combinations, and Strand's been fun. So my fun, I've created my own fun with that, to be honest. But as far as like the story content per se, it ain't nothing magical, that I'm like, oh my God, this is so earth shattering. I will say the last thing, the timing, I felt bad for Bungie and the timing of Lance Reddick's pathing with the Amanda storyline. It hit a little harder for me because I'm like, damn, and yeah, I'm very concerned because I've just dealt with this kind of with Black Panther and the whole Chadwick Boseman situation. And on one hand, I understand, hey, you want to respect, that the actor's passed and like Zavala is not recast. I don't know if that discussion's happened yet. So I'm very curious about, because we know in the past Bungie has recast, right? They've had, Ikora is new. So I'm very curious. Zavala's so tied to everything.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, how do they handle this? And I don't envy. I'll defer to you, Travis, and you guys. What do you guys think they're going to do about this? That's what I wanted to ask you guys that I missed last week.
I think they have to at least recast him for a little bit, because killing him off screen, I mean, I guess Bungie is probably not beyond that, but it would be super weird.
Yeah, it wouldn't feel right.
It would not feel right. And even if they do kill him in the universe, they have to do it with somebody else as their voice actor, unless they plan on him just silently dying or using, old voiceover recordings and trying to like mash that into something. They could also go the really questionable route and have like AI or one of those weird things where they
chat GPT. That's
the
chat GPT.
A president deepfake,
Yeah, deep
I've,
fake Zavala. I think they'll probably recast him. I honestly think the best way to deal with this sort of stuff, especially if it's a video game and it's something you can easily just pretend that separate the character from the performer. I think the best solution is to just do what Fast and Furious did. Like Brian is still alive in Fast and Furious, and I think that's probably the best way to deal with it.
What do you guys think? G?
Yeah, no, I mean, I guess I wouldn't go the route of killing him off without him saying anything, or killing him off screen. I think the best thing they could do is just try and find somebody else to fill that role. and probably not somebody who tries to sound too much like Lance Reddick, because that would just, I feel like, be off-putting. Yeah, I think, like you said, they could go the route of like AI or whatever else would be under like, what's it called, like legal parameters. But I also feel like that would be, I don't know where the moral ground sits on
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And stuff. So I think the best thing is just recast and then probably kill him off in the next season and just give him a cool tribute. And I think that's the best thing you could do with a situation like this.
Yeah, I do hope the tribute is really well done, like something if they can do it. Because I mean, Commander Zavala, even in game, is a big deal. So doing a big ornate like send off, if they choose to, as you said, recast, small voice lines, whatever they do. I just wonder what their plans are for him with the story, because they recast Ikora, and Ikora was actually handled very well. Like the voice actor is damn close, like if not undistinguishable at times. Lance Reddick is harder, I think, because his voice is so distinct.
So distinct.
And I'm not saying what is Gina Torres, was she first Ikora? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
Is
don't
she the girl from Suits?
Yes, yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? Okay.
She was the original one, but the one who came in, I was like, I even had to question for a moment. I was like, damn. So I mean, there are people who are very good at like impressions and keeping a character going, but so it would be kind of one thing that you, if you could find somebody who could get close enough. Yeah, Nolan North played Cade
No,
Forsaken.
the Forsaken. Yeah.
I was like,
He did
if
a
you could
phenomenal
find
job.
someone close enough, it's like maybe, and it's like somebody just trying to like keep the character alive and kind of almost just to honor him. You
Mhm.
could see like that could be a way that I could see it done, because you know, depending on the situation, this was unexpected by nobody. And I would imagine Zavala is a character who's been with us literally since the beginning. Zavala and Ikora are the two, but he's like the one actor I think who is still with us since the beginning, except maybe, you know, some peripheral ones, but he's one of the few. So I feel like they probably wanted to keep him around.
Mhm.
Like me, I was hoping for, you know, like a Caiatl Zavala sacrificial moment or something like that if they were gonna ever kill him off.
Mm.
And if they ever do a tribute, I really want Caiatl to go in on like some ceremonial thing, like talking deep about Zavala and like the bond that they had and stuff. Like I want Caiatl to have like a piece of that, because I know she's newer, but their relationship is like there's something going on there that kind of has. So I hope that kind of, if they do a tribute in game, but yeah, it's I don't know what they're gonna do. There's a couple different ways they could take it, and I think they will do it respectfully. Like I think they will definitely honor him, however they choose to do it. I think they will definitely do it respectfully. It's like it probably just depends on where he ties into the story, I would imagine, as
and I guess
how they have to handle it. I think.
I guess the question I have for you is then, how far off do you think he's contributed narratively? What do you think the cutoff is? Is it next season? Like how far? I'm gonna.
Oh,
Like,
do you think how much
voice
his Lance is in there?
Yeah, has he done so far? Because we would assume this season clearly is done, right?
Yeah.
So is it the next season that's the cutoff? Was there stuff that he had for Final Shape? I'm very curious what they had, and a lot of times Bungie has.
I know
guys
Final
come
Shape,
back
I
in
feel
and
like
redo
has
it.
been working on like Final Shape's actually been in the works for a while. So
Mhm.
there's a chance there's something in there. And especially if they don't use him for a season, maybe he's involved, maybe he's not. Like, you know, if we like everybody says season the deep, there's a rumor what planet we're going back to. So it's like, you know, you could go there for something. Is he involved? Probably not there. So like maybe he had recorded something for Final Shape, maybe not. And that's I think where it's like it has, and again, they can do some rewriting of stuff. We're farther out, but it just depends on I think how many dominoes were already in motion for like the story, working on cinematics, whatever, like for them to figure out if they need more lines, do they recast? Do they try and get somebody who's close, or do you just have somebody re-record all of his lines if they got to do them all? I don't. It's tough, but I was like, if they haven't chosen to kill him off, it would be really weird for them to, I guess, choose to do that just to get him out of the game. I think if somebody could do his voice justice or recast, as you said, I think that's probably the way they would rather do that, so they're not forced into a weird writing situation.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not a
Nolan North
situation.
will be voicing Zavala as well. He's just going to do every character.
Yeah.
You gotta
Yes,
see that.
every single character. It'll be a one-man show. That's great.
He's what, Jisoo Calorando and
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Oh, by the way, I didn't put this in my review, but that annoyed the crap out of me. The Jisoo Colorado thing.
Jisoo Colorado?
Because it's so obviously Nolan North. It just sounds like your Ghost. Like he didn't even do a different voice. It's like, yo, I know exactly who the voice actor is. I don't like recognizing voice actors in games. It really bothers me. And Nolan North, usually he's good. Like you can't tell it's him if he's putting on some sort of
Jisoo.
character into it. But
Had his little, he had his kind of
Jisoo
newsy
sucked.
thing going, but
Come
Yeah.
on. That wasn't you knew who it was immediately. You were like, all right, okay, Nolan North. Hi, buddy.
Yeah. I think he's probably earned his stripes enough to probably be like, yeah, he's gonna do a news guy, and that's probably okay. He's done so many different things over the years. I think he's probably all right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not besmirching his good name. I'm just saying you're already in the game. If you're gonna play another character, you have to do some kind of voice. Like you can't just be the same. It really bothered me, man.
Oh man, that's too funny.
So when we get to, I guess anything else you guys want to say about this? I feel like we got a little bit more just to cover on the TWAB.
Like I said, this solid season, but for me, narratively, it's just where I mean, the fact that Nightfall situation was what it was, I think affected it for me. That's just where I stand on it. But gameplay loop, weapons, everything else I do like.
Fair. So yeah, we've got the difficulty changes that happened in the patch, and then obviously they're mentioned in the TWAB where they reduced the enemy scalar. They reduced the enemy HP scalar in all non-raid and dungeon, legend, and master activities by 10%. So that's like Nightfalls and activities and things like that. And then also reduce the co-op enemy HP scalar by 33% on Legend Avalon in a full fire team. So Legend Avalon is not quite as crazy. So if you're having some issues in there, it should be a little bit easier. Accommodations, we kind of talked about those. Eventually, they'll probably just be gone, but that's fine. Big thing is the mid-season preview for the weapons. So this is the Sandbox update that is coming. We don't have a date on it. At least we can't find one anywhere, so we'll get there. First thing is primary, like the PvE stuff. So primaries, auto rifles getting a 25% buff. Pulse rifles, hand cannons, sidearms, 20% buff. Scouts, they're afraid of doing too much. People sitting in the back and plinking from far away, but they're doing 10% there. Bows and SMGs, they kind of use those as a benchmark to try and get them to. So just on those alone, and also any exotics that fall under those still get their 40% buff towards red bars, but also the 25, 20, and 10% as well. So you've got a pulse rifle, so Outbreak is going to have 20% more still as well than it does right now against red bars, things like that. So
Nice.
G, is there anything for you in just these three categories of like autos, pulses, hand cannons, sidearms, scouts? Is there anything about these buffs that excites you for changes of loadouts, weapons you might pull out of the vault, anything like that?
Yeah, I think the autos at 25% was decent. I don't know if it'll be enough to make me go auto over an SMG. Oddly enough, I was talking about him today. Error posted, and I don't even think he knew about the TWAB beforehand. He posted something about sidearms because it was rumored that we were getting a lot of primary reworks. And so I think sidearms were pretty neck and neck with the DPS output of something like a 900 RPM SMG, which is obviously like FunnelWeb and the better ones. Yeah. So I think we could be heading into a period of time where sidearms are pretty good. The issue that I see is like mag size for sidearms is extremely low.
Yeah.
I think for some reason the hit rec and the reticle or the recoil and where your reticle actually gets positioned versus where your bullet is going, it's kind of weird. So I don't know if that damage buff will make any sidearm good enough to use. And I think of sidearms, you'd still probably go the route of just whatever's full auto, because spam clicking and bursts would be a bit weird.
Yeah, I can see that for PvE especially.
I think sidearms are one of the only ones that look like they could compete with like SMGs. And then hand cannon wise, I've seen a lot of people say, what's it called? Sunshot could be pretty good because it's going to stack with the 40% against red bars that it got. I think does Sunshot have incandescent now?
I believe some type of scorch effect, maybe.
Yeah, it might apply
something
scorch,
like
something like that. Yeah, I think that's what it is.
So that plus like Solar Surge, Ember of Empyrean type stuff could be really good in like Nightfalls, just as like a primary backup weapon to take in. So yeah, I think the changes are pretty good. But I think I want to see an SMG nerf. I want to see them obliterated, because I came back to like Destiny from Shadowkeep, and that's when Recluse was in the game. It's just been SMGs the whole time. So I want something different.
That's fair.
I want something different.
What was funny, because I was running around and I like took screenshots and I thought I was insane, and I was just like, okay. And it's because I had 2 in 2 different slots. I had gotten the raid auto rifle, and it was like 1804. There's a Rufus, which is got some amazing rolls on it. And then I just had, as usual, I had like an SMG just in their slot because I was running around Neomuna doing something, and Neomuna's got a little higher level. And I was sitting there and I was close to something, and I shot it with like the SMG, and I saw like 1052 for like a crit. I'm like, all right. And then I pulled out the auto, and I'm like right next to the same guy, and I saw like 692, and I'm going, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like the scaling on some of those, and it's like, I understand auto rifles hit farther, but I mean, it was over 35%. Like Mass was like maybe 37%. And I'm going, you're telling me an auto rifle and an SMG hit 37% different within range for both? Like, I'm point blank on both of them, and that one's hitting 37%. I know SMGs are meant to be closer, but I was just like, damn.
Right.
So like stuff like that. Then I see this thing drop at 25%. I'm like, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
It's like, so some of that stuff actually feels like it probably is going to be a little bit better there. Pulse rifles, Graviton Lance, I'm excited to see if I could actually find a reason to use that. I think that might be one of those, it's either next season. I gotta scroll down. Hold on. I want to make sure I'm not talking out of my butt. Yes.
Always.
Season 21 at launch. Buffs adjustments to more than a dozen exotic weapons, including Graviton Lance. I want to see them rework that. If they go destabilizing with that, I can see having a lot of fun there. Salvation's Grip. Now, that is the one I wanted to ask you guys. We'll go back up in a second. What do you think they can do to Salvation's Grip to make you actually want to use that weapon?
Rework the entire gun.
I think, well, yeah, but what would you do with it? Like, I feel like you have to start from scratch on it because it is so useless.
All right, I got it.
Okay.
Let's go.
If you get hit with Salvation's Grip, it doesn't put stasis on your character. It puts stasis on your account. So you get a timeout from Bungie. You just can't. How about this? It doesn't let you access the API, so you can't use dim for 2 minutes if you get hit with Salvation's Grip.
It's like hardcore mode.
Yeah.
UI
Okay, for the people with realistic ideas.
That's a good idea. God, I'm just thinking outside the box, bro.
You know what's super funny about Salvation's Grip? So I've been getting into speed runs probably over like the last 6 months, and so a big part of speedrunning and one of the coolest parts, I think, is doing skips. So it's typically called either like a 1-2 skip, a 2-3 skip, or like a 3-4 skip. And that's basically you going from like second encounter to third for like a 2-3.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So with Salvation's Grip, there's this thing called DSM, which stands for Death Spawn Manipulation. And you can basically just shoot a bunch of crystals on the ground, as far as I understand it, block where your res would be, then you kill yourself in game before you hit the ground and reset your spawn point somewhere else, and you can like skip to another encounter. So it's actually an extremely useful exotic, but it's extremely controversial right now because a lot of people who are good at like movement are like, this is stupid when you can just teleport somewhere. Other people are like, yeah, but it's going to give us faster times. So it seems like a meme exotic, but I think there are places where Salvations is oddly enough useful. It's weird.
Okay, outside of breaking
That's
the
not
game,
a manipulation.
outside of breaking the game,
That's fair.
That technically is an exploit, which is allowed by Bungie, and that is a very common speedrunner thing to do. By the way, is find weapons that let you do like skips. So,
like, I mean, I've seen people like park sparrows, and you get off and you fall into the map and that type of stuff. I was going more, how would you, if you're gonna go into, I don't know, the planets encounter, what would they have to do to Salvation's Grip for you to pull that thing out of the vault in an encounter like that? What would it take?
I don't know if it's a PvE weapon. PvP,
yeah, that's true.
If you get hit with Salvation's Grip, you can't change your equipped weapon. No weapon swapping for a cooldown.
That actually would be hilarious, by the way.
It'd be great. Yeah.
Shotgunner's got his primary out. He's like, no, I'm stuck on my primary.
Yeah, your alt weapon gets glued to your back using the ice. You can't.
And then you get shot in the face after you did that.
That would be.
Does it have a catalyst? Do you guys know?
I don't think it does.
I don't think so.
No.
It hasn't been
opportunity. Could give it like Seekers. Oh, could you imagine that in PvP? Like the Ice Flare Bolt Seekers or whatever they are.
Oh god.
That would
shoot the turret, you shoot the crystal out, and the crystal has 2 ice bolts that come out with it. That's your catalyst. So you have an ice block that you could use for, damage mitigation and other things, and then it would have 2 ice bolt turrets, like, because nobody else gets the ice bolt turrets. So I was like, would you feel we would be jumping on the Warlock train there a little too much and stealing the turrets from you?
But It would be that would be dope because the other classes would be able to use it, right? They have some.
I could.
I just want something boss DPS-y for it because I just feel like I
I
remember that
don't know
during
if
the
it
whole.
can. I don't know if it can
Never
be if
gonna
it
be
still
that,
shoots
yeah.
crystals. Like I feel like
It's got to do something on impact though. Like it's just the most useless. I literally remember it being a quest advancer. Like there
Exactly.
goes
that's all
the-
it
the-
was. Yeah.
Yeah, the pyramid things that you need to break in Beyond Light to advance past this section. Here's Salvation Grip. Like that's literally the only, and I was mad I had to go pull it out from them because I never carried it. I was like, oh, let me go open up them.
And the
get this
Drifter
thing.
gave it to you, right? It was
I
like a
forgot,
Drifter
right?
quest.
What? I
Yeah.
can't even remember the quest.
I think it was
Yeah,
a Drifter
crazy.
quest. And
It was
Beyond
Drifter?
Light. Yeah. You should be
Yeah.
able to, if you have the weapon equipped, you don't have to play Gambit. You think that's possible?
You messy. You
You
messy.
just get
Is
your
there a way?
pinnacles.
You messy.
Yeah,
man.
you just get your pinnacles if you have it equipped. You don't have to play Gambit.
He'll
you
never
do
get
that?
it. But my request is
Somewhere there's a
something on
Bungie dev.
impact.
If any of you guys listen, rolling on the floor with all of Travis's ideas right
Yeah,
now.
he's out of pocket. He's
And
My
out of
somebody
ideas are
else-
great.
And somebody
My
else is
ideas are
like,
great.
well,
Look.
we're never listening to that show again.
pocket.
Look, we already know that Bungie can kill off its API because we've seen that happen for like what, a week.
Yeah.
Just saying, my idea isn't crazy. It's
Any-
not even
okay.
unprecedented.
Fine.
Messy.
This is just effort and futility here, so it's fine.
Basically, like looking at it right now, flash freeze is with charging the weapon increases the freeze radius and amount of stasis. So maybe it does like a bolt, right? That does something on impact, and then I'm with y'all on something area of effect.
What if you could? What if instead of like the lob, it functions the way the diamond lance does? So it's more of a
Oh, like
direct shot.
Alternative mode or something?
Yeah, like an alt mode. It fires
Yes.
like that, and that could be your boss DPS.
Yes.
And then the catalyst normally has the 2 turrets. I think that would give it. So you're shooting diamond lances for your like boss DPS mode. So it's Lancelot.
Okay. Time for a real suggestion, and I'm tempted to make this.
Oh
not
my
a real
God! Be a real
Oh, we have a
suggestion.
real
I'm
one
gonna-
now?
I- all right, hold on,
You drink
everybody.
What if?
Everybody, I've got on screen remove from group. Everybody ready? Let's see what this is.
Hit the button.
I'm ready.
I'm really tempted. I'm really tempted to say another.
I'm
meme
ready.
suggestion. All right, here we go. What if it shot a crystal, and while they were crystallized, it had the same DPS buff effect as Div? So it was like Div for your heavy slot.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if they were, so if like
Yeah,
the
that
crystal's
way
like
you could-
near them or proximity or has affected them, it's like a debuff.
Yeah.
Potential.
Potential.
You're
Yeah,
still
'cause
you're
it
still
do-
in the
do-
call. You're still in the call. Okay.
Div on a heavy weapon would be good because you could make the debuff higher or the
Right.
damage increase higher because it requires heavy ammo and it has reloads in between all of them.
Mhm.
And you wouldn't need to keep a beam on it, so it would have a different use than Div, right? Because you shoot it
Mhm.
once and then it would just apply to that area or whatever. That could work.
Or somebody's like, just make it a special weapon.
Yeah.
Something like
Or meme idea. It has the opposite effect of Div, where they gain damage resistance.
In case you.
Yeah, I mean,
inside
well, I
of
guess
a-
you can do that now though, because it does that if you're running stasis. You put it.
That's
if you
right.
shut it
Crystal
down,
down,
you
yeah.
have. Yeah.
Yeah,
like
you have the
40%.
resistance. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It
right.
could be cool though to just give it to people. Never mind. There's actually too much DR in the game right now. It would get out of hand. But like if you place it down and people weren't on stasis
Yeah.
and they still got
No,
the DR, it could be good.
I'm saying the opposite of Div. Like if you shoot it at the boss becomes more resistant to damage. It's just
the
yeah.
boss.
yeah,
Oh.
the boss becomes more resistant.
See,
totally
I
good.
see.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
guys were a little
Yeah.
slow on that one because I knew what he was saying the
Yeah.
whole time. I was like,
Yeah,
you-
that's what I'm saying. Like because then
Okay.
it would be like a handicap. It'd be like, hey guys, I'm about to make the boss like way more.
you no longer have a weapon,
Yeah.
heavy weapon, and the boss is harder.
Yeah.
This guy.
And then they could add a separate stat to the raid report. So when you wipe,
Travis
it'll be
just
like
dragging
who
this
helped,
episode out.
oh
who
yeah.
helped the boss gain the most damage.
Anyway, aggressive frame SMGs are going to be getting a little bit of a nerf. Ikelos SMG as well is going to. They're also looking at the TTK on aggressive frames, kind of taking it from 0.67 to 0.77. Yeah, you're going to have to. Come on, you like to be off meta anyway, so get off that stuff. Come on.
Not my 750s. It was a good
Bye.
run.
Bye.
Oh man.
Fusion rifles. This is one it seems like people are worried about, actually. Like I saw Lego, I saw Fallout was like craft one of these now, like the new fusion rifle from Neomuna.
Yeah, I got
The
it.
rapid fires are going to have an increase in DPS, like the damage per bolt is going to be higher. So if you will be able to defeat all guardians at any resilience level with 7 bolts, and it's a rapid fire. So, but PvE is unchanged. So PvP fears right now. We'll have to see if it's a thing. PvP isn't touched right. Immortal is a 750. That's the one that's going to get hit, guys, in case you're wondering.
I know, which I just got.
We
I
all
finally
just
went to the
got it.
lighthouse.
We all just got it.
But I got the adept version. I went to the
Did
lighthouse.
you get the adept god roll?
What is considered? I have.
What did you get? Did you
I
get a
got
roll you like?
rangefinder. Yeah, I got rangefinder
That
and
alone is good.
The one that's killing everybody.
Target
what is it?
lock?
Target.
You
Bro,
literally
I'm-
got the
Yeah,
rangefinder target lock? Oh
I
my
got-
god.
And it has the optional for PvE on Hatchling. I am set. Don't be nerfing my baby now.
I mean, it's gonna get nerfed a
Nerf
little
'em.
bit, but oh my god.
Nerf them.
Yeah. Shoot that. Just take it outside and shoot it. Come on.
Bro, I was so happy I went to the lighthouse on single play. I could not believe it. I was like,
Yeah,
what
that's-
is
you said
happening with
Was
that.
that your first roll?
Hatchling?
Was that your only one that you got?
That's the only one I got.
Yeah, I'm just like,
Okay.
I'm like, I'm
you
good.
have
I'm
any idea
retired.
how many engrams I dumped into that on normal and didn't get remotely near that? Yeah, lucky you. Must be nice. Like cool guy getting the raid exotic first time every time. Trace rifles, their damage is going to go up a smidge. They said they're afraid because in the right hands they can be good even at range, but they said they're going to bump them up just a bit. It's 4% damage bump. They're reducing the precision hit multiplier by a smidge. Increase the effectiveness of stability at reducing flinch by 10%. So they're trying to make them a little easier to use, but they're afraid if they give like the skilled people too much help on the trace rifle, you're going to see a laser light show. So
Is that just PvP?
yeah, it's just PvP, I think.
Okay.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Sniper rifles, this is PvP as well. Reduced recoil by 50%. And then PvE, they increased total, and this is on PvP and PvE. They reduced recoil by 50% on rapid fire snipers and increased the total ammo, magazines plus reserves by 30% on rapid fires. Right now, rapid fires are not the best at DPS for obvious reasons. So they're trying to help iced, and then also season 21 snipers are getting a 10% damage buff in PvE.
Yeah, boy.
So they're still afraid of people sitting in the back of the room, but also there's certain things that they build now where you can't do that. Like you're not going to get much use out of a sniper rifle in the 7th mission of the campaign where you're running in a circle. Like that's not going to do you any good there. But there are certain situations they still fear it.
You can if you're me and you're a master at 360 no scoping and just
Yes.
that's all I do. All I
360
do is
no-scopes.
spin
That's what you do.
and no scope Vex
Spin to win.
right in the milk box. Got him.
I hate hitting Vex crits, dude.
Oh,
I hate
It's
them.
I'm
so
with you.
annoying.
I can't
I
stand
feel like
what
I'm
I
aiming
call-
at him, and then it just
You know what I
hits
call-
above
yeah,
or
the-
below.
Like I swear, a
The crit-
bow,
the-
I have to aim at his knees just to hit his crit. It's
Yeah.
bows annoy me more because I love bows, but Vex suck. Sorry, Travis. Go.
The crit spot is so hard to hit on the Vex. I call it the Critterus.
I'm about to use that
Yeah.
one.
And demonetized. Thank you.
Be outta here.
We
We
got
outta
there.
here
We
now.
got there. It happened. It took it took an hour
We're
and
out.
59 minutes, but we got there.
Yep,
We got there.
We're out of here.
Yep. Teraba is gonna get its zoom reduced from 16 to 15, so it's gonna be brought back in the range of all the other ones. They reduced the amount of Ravenous Beast energy generated when taking damage from 3% to 1%. And then for revision 0, they said there's people can screw with 4th times the charm when entering Hunter's Trance, so they're trying to make sure that doesn't basically get abused. But they said they're increasing the PvE damage of Hunter's Trace rounds by 25%, and then the Hake Heavy Burst rounds by 75%. So they're bumping that one quite a bit in PvE.
That's the 2 burst?
I don't remember. Hold on.
Which one's the 2? Which one's the
I gotta look at
75%?
them.
Yeah, I need to know. If that's the
Oh.
2, is that the 2
Okay,
burst or the 4
Hake
burst?
Light Burst is 4. Hake Heavy Burst is 2.
So I'm lit.
And the Hunter's Trace is the sniper.
Hunter's
Yes.
Trace is the sniper. So the sniper by 25% and the heavy bursts hits 75% harder. It did feel like that needed some love because like when you go 2 burst in PvE, I was like, that doesn't feel right.
Oh yes, let's go.
So yeah,
That's a massive amount of love, though.
Yeah, it's a lot.
75%.
75?
Mercules is like, I want my weapon to be better. Thank you. Let's go ahead and bump up
that's
his
his baby.
numbers. That's his bump. That's
Plus, that still gets what, 20%?
20% as well.
On top of the pulse. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
the pulse.
Right. And that's
Yeah.
probably multiplicative, not
Yeah,
like it wouldn't be 90%. It would be like closer to
20%
115.
times. Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
that's gonna be
Yep.
litty. Grab that.
you doing the math
Interesting.
right now? Hold on, let me bust out my
Crazy.
calculator, numpad,
Gonna be
real
crazy.
fast.
Oddly enough, I have this next to my desk. This is my
TI. What is that? What
PC.
TI is that?
This is the TI 84.
84.
I don't know if the camera focuses
I
yet.
think I had an
He
83
just
or
got out of
84.
school, so it's brand new.
I was thinking they make like a TI 97 now, but it's still a TI 84. So I'm like, all right.
I love
It's
it.
the best one. It is the best calculator.
It's like I
We are
remember
geeks.
making games on that thing and like downloading games and uploading to them on there. So yeah, that was old high school thing. Yeah, season 21, a sweeping rework of weapon hipfire reticles for, a whole bunch of reasons. The aggressive frame SMG nerf, 10% PvE sniper buff, and then buffs adjustments to a dozen exotic weapons. So we know Graviton, Lance, and Salvation's Grip. What else do you guys think is going to be getting love? Because there's 10 more. List what do you think needs love right now for exotics?
A lot. That's a
A lot.
long list.
Yeah,
well,
it
I
is.
was like, okay, then give me your what needs it the most.
Le
But
Monarch.
I'm booting
Just
up
doesn't do
Destiny
enough.
now so I can actually
I was
look
like,
at collections.
we got G.
I don't know.
I can't boot up Destiny. I got too much stuff going on right now. So one of you guys
Okay.
probably has to look.
Le Monarch just doesn't do enough damage over time. I feel like he needs to buff it.
He needed to burn more.
Somebody
Yeah.
said Borealis. I could see Borealis needing some.
Borealis.
Now, one thing I
Yeah.
heard, I wanted to ask you guys this because I'd be curious.
Mhm.
Borealis, what is it? Dead Messenger, and then Hardlight.
Yeah.
Do you think this would be OP? But I would love it if they did it.
Talk
Solar
to me.
gets incandescent.
Oh.
Art
You
gets Volt Shot. Void gets destabilizing rounds.
You trying to two-tail fox the situation?
But I
Oh,
mean,
man.
that'd be. You want to give me a reason to use those weapons? Lean into the new verbs, like
Raw. Just the functionality of switching in itself is so premium in any type
Yeah.
of.
But like shields
you
don't
know.
matter as much now. Like that doesn't have nearly the
Yeah.
value.
But
It would
bro,
also make kinetic weapons way
Yeah.
worse.
yeah, it would
They would
definitely
use
have.
kinetic exotics if that were a thing.
Kinetic Trimmers
Yeah.
needs to go find some love on some of those.
Question: does Hardlight and Borealis switch to Strand now?
No.
No.
They've only done light.
That
They
is
never
nothing.
switch to stasis. They don't go dark.
Yeah, they don't do dark.
They don't ever go darkness.
In fact, we don't have a dark switching exotic.
Switching
which I assume will
exotic.
be coming.
Interesting.
Stasis and Strand. Well, we need our third subclass.
Third
and then they'll do it.
subclass.
Yeah.
Kinetic.
Got it.
You know what
I
I'd love to
mean,
see?
What you like?
Kinetic
What you
is the
want?
third.
Back to the conversation like of the other 10 that could
Yeah.
be changed. Lumina is really good for getting like that extra 10% on top
Come
of
on.
well.
Bring
But
it
the
in.
thing that I hate about it is you get those stacks. Also, hand cannons kind of suck right now.
Yes.
To get those stacks and like harder things. So
Talk to
it'll
me.
be nice with the 20%. But with that, it doesn't work in like an AoE. So if you have like the 5 rounds loaded,
Mhm.
you got to make sure that you like spam all 5 and hit each individual teammate.
Oh,
So if
preach.
they gave that the
an
ability to
area
just
of
have a
effect,
huge
maybe?
AoE,
Ooh.
I think it'd be amazing.
Yeah, let me
nice.
embrace my healer. Yeah, absolutely. That's
Like
an
if you're all
underrated
standing
Right.
together, shoot one and get the burst for
Put that
everybody.
well,
Yes.
everybody gets 10%. Yeah, I think that'd be
Oh,
better.
we talking weapons or armor?
Weapons.
Which one's-
They...
okay.
Oh, I
So
think they just said
Yeah,
weapons.
they said
right?
weapons.
Okay.
I would like plenty of armor to get touched as well, but
I'm
The
sure you would.
260 arc scout. that-
symmetry.
Yeah, it got
Ooh. Yeah,
it needs a little love. It needs something even with a buff to that charge up blast effect. You know, something needs that because I feel like that weapon should have a lot of potential. I think Mercury's like loves it, but somebody I know loves it. But I still feel
think
it.
Mercury's
Yeah,
is pretty good about like pretty high on it. I think he was.
yeah. I would like to see it get some love for Arc 3.0 at least. Some synergy there as well.
How much do you guys find yourselves using an exotic primary over specials and heavies?
More
Do you think?
more frequently lately, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because heavies like you could do linears and you got pretty solid grenade launchers, like pretty optimal rockets now. Like I can do good enough, but if like my general use weapon can, I mean, if I'm gonna compare Layman Arc to just a normal build, like it doesn't even feel the same because you get the 40% damage, so all the red bars start going down faster. Whether it's Trinity Ghoul for ad clear, Ticuu's like, and that's just bows. So no, I mean
Yeah.
primaries. The one I would say that I probably use the least is
Quicksilver.
specials.
Osteostriga.
Oh,
Those are
Shriga.
both important.
Because yeah, sometimes I'll pull out a galley. Sometimes I probably use exotic specials, especially in PvE,
The
since that's
least.
mostly what I do. I probably use exotic specials the least.
I would say just the traces is when I decide to kind of use them.
Okay,
Yeah.
well yeah, they're
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good
yeah,
point.
they do stand
I've
out.
heard what's it called? Have you guys messed around with Wave Splitter this season?
Oh,
That
heard
I
it's
know
crazy.
I want to. I've been meaning to mess around with that because
Forgetting.
the suppression will mess with overloads, and then if you can make orbs, which you can make a buttload of orbs now, you're sitting at like peak DPS the whole time. So
Okay.
I think it's
Mhm.
got that one actually could be. I heard somebody I think somebody did a video on that. I can't remember who.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I might have to mess around with it.
Yeah, I heard good things. I heard good things on
Tommy's
it.
matchbook could probably like
Oh yeah.
be like that.
Yeah, that one sucks.
One
Yeah,
sucks.
that sucks. Yeah.
Tiku's too.
That one sucks.
Ticu's
Yeah.
does not suck.
No, I just laughing because you're like, yeah, that one
Tiku's
sucks.
could use
Yeah,
a
I
buff,
haven't.
though.
Tommy's matchbook is.
Tommy's
I always
probably
felt like Tommy's
good.
matchbook was like a Dollar Tree version of Touch of Malice.
Touch of Alice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's pretty much.
Still
I
don't
agree.
have it. Shut up. Oh,
Oh.
you know what weapon I would
don't
love
either.
to see buff?
Which one?
What's the rocket launcher that I spent like 60 runs?
Oh,
As of
you know what's
tomorrow.
funny? They
As of
actually
tomorrow.
gave it a buff against bosses recently. I mean, it's okay. It's just that charge up, the time to
needs a
get it.
buff.
Yeah, it needs
I
something.
need to retroactively justify my time grinding for
I
that
feel
weapon, please.
and it's a raid weapon. I'm with you. They need to give it. I'm with you, Trav. They need to give it the collective obligation love. How many they had to
as
rebuff
of
collective
tomorrow.
obligation? Because collective obligation is amazing right now.
And
Like, I don't
give
know if
me
you
a
guys use it.
catalyst for 1,000 voices, you
Ooh.
cowards.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's
because it
good.
got the scorching buff, right? 1,000
Mhm.
voices did.
Mhm.
Here's one: Cerberus +1.
Oh Lord.
Oh, that's another trash tier exotic.
Yeah,
They could buff
exactly.
it by
Dude,
deleting it.
what could they do?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. What could you do just
Delete
besides give it some range? Because it doesn't. I was like, that's the only thing. Maybe tighten it, give it some range. Does it even have a catalyst? It has a catalyst.
I've always thought
Yeah.
Cerberus +1 is weird that it's a kinetic only. That's the one that they should add strand and
It's just you can
stasis
shoot everything if
damage
it has
to.
like 4 or 5 barrels.
Yeah, see, it's already
Yeah,
got a catalyst
exactly,
and
which
it's
is
still
gold.
bad. Like that should
Yeah.
definitely do more. All three of
No,
the
it's not.
exotic glaives,
Saves.
the exotic glaives, like those compared to Winter's Bite. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
They suck in comparison to Winter's Bite.
I would
Suros
agree.
feels like it's forgotten.
Yeah.
All I can say is if you haven't pulled out Wish Ender, go use that thing.
Crazy.
Holy God. Oh my God. Like for a primary, you'd never run out of ammo. It pierces, so you can shoot through multiple things as a barrier weapon. And then if you're pumping on like a boss over and over, it hits him 2 to 3 times every time, and it hits like a truck.
Yeah.
Like,
You
I
get a
mean-
ton of super energy through that too.
Yes, that's
Really?
true. Yeah, well, yeah, what exotic primaries build up super faster, I think. Is that right?
Yeah.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I honestly want them to take it out of the game because I think it's a little bit too broken now. But at one point, I'm pretty sure they implemented some change where like the higher tier enemy that you're just dealing damage against gives more super. So that's why if you're just like shooting left and right against the boss, like I think if you watch somebody do like Thunderlord DPS,
Yeah.
you just watch their super bar go up, and you're just like, dude, what is that? So
Crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. I
it was a
haven't
good
got
idea, but I think it's broken now.
probably busted a little bit. I haven't got a chance to touch it because I've been utilizing Leviathan's breath so much. I've been really
Okay.
enjoying. People are sleeping, man.
No,
Leviathan's
I
breath-
use that. It hits because it hits once for like 50. Well, I was probably a lost sector, so numbers are screwy. But it was like 50k, and then the blast hit for 70. It
Yeah.
chunks like it.
And then I think it has a tempo on top of it, and then it's
catalyst?
the catalyst. Is
Yeah,
sick.
Archer's
Yeah.
tempo. Yeah.
And you hold so much now. It's really. I know which one needs a buff. The one they just announced that it's supposed to be a machine gun version of Div with weakening and
Oh,
whatever. The machine, what is it?
not
Deterministic.
collective obligation. Yeah, deterministic
Deterministic something.
chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah. That because I know what they're trying to do. They want to make a machine gun.
The weekends
Kinda have-
and then volatiles.
Yeah, they kind of have
and-
div properties. But I know a catalyst is coming. But they do. It does need a little extra
Yeah,
love.
it didn't
to
feel
justify
strong
it.
enough.
It didn't feel strong enough. Yeah.
Sturm. Like there are some of these that I'm like, I forget some of these exist until I look through a list sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bad
Anybody-
juju, to be honest.
Mm.
It's not a bad.
It's just not that bad.
It's
yeah.
not bad, but it definitely. I mean, yeah, you get some super out of it, but now, as we just said, it's like we already get some super, so you're just going to get a little faster. And the range on bad juju, if you're in like a decently lengthy encounter, its range sucks. Its range is really, really bad. I always knew that was a thing that kind of worked against it for me. Anybody pulling out cryosthesia still? No?
Oh yeah, remember that? Remember when we were scared of cryosthesia when it was first announced?
Yeah.
We were terrified.
Are you
like,
scared?
we were like, yo, what is going to do with PvP?
For
What is
PvP.
going to
Oh
do
yeah,
with
freeze on the
PvP?
map.
We was like something that freezes you on contact. We was
I
terrified.
actually used that in PvP for a while.
How'd it feel for you? How'd it go?
I liked it. I mean, I love sidearms, so it's pretty underrated.
We got another one.
Mhm.
Captain Miffy says, "Oh my god, I love Gmeiners. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god."
God, it's him.
And I'm
He's
not making fun of you. I love to see anybody loving content creators. So
That's what's up.
That's my buddy Miff, I think, who I play
Oh.
with. He's on my day one squad.
Nice.
the
Nice.
Huckleberry. Do you guys think that needs love?
What is? I remember there was big news about the Huckleberry a while ago because they nerfed Rampage or something, but it does it still have the OG Rampage?
I wonder if it does. Yeah, because that's a good point. Because isn't Rampage spec now intrinsically part of the
think you're
perk
right.
now?
Oh yeah, Rampage. Yeah,
think
you
so.
don't need the Rampage
Yeah.
spec mod. Yeah,
But that's just duration, is it not?
Correct.
yeah, it
Correct.
was
Okay.
duration
Okay.
extension.
It was duration. It was duration.
It has
Mhm.
old Rampage.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe it needs a slight rework, unless if they haven't touched that part of it.
Maybe
The last one. Yeah.
Ariana's Vow.
Yeah. That was like when Anti-Barrier debuted, I
Yeah,
believe.
I mean
right?
it was like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
the epitome.
Mhm.
But like now,
Yeah.
it just
I
doesn't
think you
even
could use some damage, to be honest, but
damage buff.
I don't know what the
probably.
DPS of it is right now because it has what autoloading, or is it holster mods?
Good question.
I think it's just autoloading through the catalyst,
Yeah, it might be right. I never got
which is
that
actually
dang.
pretty good because the
Yeah.
reload on that thing is
Oof,
Oh, that
bro.
reload
not ideal.
hurts.
not
And
ideal.
it
Yeah.
kicks like an absolute mule. It's horrible. The
Mhm.
recoil is about 400. Yeah, you mentioned Symmetry, Skyburner's Oath,
Mhm. I need some symmetry love.
Devil's Ruin,
Yeah, what's going on with that? That had a low
and
boost
Trespass
right
are both, if you're going to talk about sidearms getting a little buff. Like, I think
Have you guys messed with Trespasser? Is it good for a sidearm or no?
I
I
tried it
literally
like when
buffed
it
it out
launched.
yesterday. How's it? I'm sorry.
Oh no,
I
I was like,
couldn't.
I tried it when when it launched, and I was trying to use it, and you could like, if you can chain it, it's not bad, but I would
Okay.
instantly put it away. I think in high level stuff. If you're doing
Okay.
low level activities, I could see some like, because you get the really fast fire, and then it kind of does like it basically deletes the guy you're looking at. It's pretty good, but it's like as soon as you got to
Okay.
something tougher where you couldn't get quick
Yeah.
kills over and over, I feel like it would run out of gas fast.
Yeah. I was gonna ask G a question. How do you feel? I didn't get a chance if you put a video on it. How do you feel about Final Warning, the side on the new one? How you
Oh,
feeling
is that
about
the
it?
exotic?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I
the
don't-
Strand side.
I
of
don't
it.
Right.
have it. I
Okay.
don't have it. Oddly
Yeah,
enough.
I need to do that
Um,
quest as well.
I really like it. I feel like it's really strong against orange bars too, as well. It's just like for lack of range, obviously, because it's sidearm. But I was just curious because I was having a love affair for it, but it's kind of controversial because it's kind of like a Titanfall smart pistol with the charge up, hold up, aim kind of a deal. But once you kind of get the cycle, I think it's already good, but some people don't
Okay.
like it. It's kind of like a polarizing. That's why I asked you.
How aggressive is the tracking for it when you're using it in like PvE?
Not too
Is
aggressive.
it good? Okay,
It's-
okay. Because like
It
people
doesn't
love
like shoot
Osteo.
all over the place. Like,
They have to be like very packed up, in my opinion,
Okay.
for it to work. It's really, I actually have more success with it when I charge up on single target DPS.
Okay.
It's a beast. And then when you hip fire it up close, it does more damage, I think, body shot hip fire wise up close. It's a weird synergy. You got. I'm just curious if y'all
Yeah.
messed around with it. Well, y'all, let me know how y'all
I
feel
have to
about
unlock the rest of Strand and then do that. Is it hard to
Yeah.
earn in the quest? Does it take long or?
it. It wasn't
Okay,
that too bad. It
I
wasn't too
haven't
bad.
done it, but yeah, I don't think that was like one of the early videos that came out, so I don't think it's
Yeah.
long. I just need to sit down and knock it out.
So
I
shout
will
out to Zero.
say,
Yeah.
people love Osteo, and I think Osteo is a really good weapon. But
Yeah.
the part that drives me crazy is the tracking because I like just being able to look at something, shoot it, and have the bullets hit.
Yeah,
There's so many
the
times where I'm just
delay.
like, I'm aiming at the guy, and the enemy's moving like left to right, and the things are like curving around him, and so part of that aspect I don't like. But in the case of like Osteo, that the spread is like so broken and
Yeah.
stuff, so kind of like risk reward.
Yeah,
but
it's amazing for
honest,
the ad
y'all.
clear.
I feel
I'll
like
be
it
honest,
should be that bad because
Yeah.
of how good the weapon is in other ways.
Truth.
I'm gonna be honest. I think Osteo nerf gonna come.
Yeah, Gatling.
Yeah.
Bro,
Yeah, I can see
it
that. I can
is,
see that.
Yeah, I see
bro,
it.
it is by far the dominant option.
I mean, that's what I
and,
heard
you know,
everybody used when it came to Callus. That was
Yeah.
like the easy, just like some people sat
I
underneath.
did
and
it on
just
my
were-
alt runs. My
Yeah.
alt runs. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't
Yeah.
about to
Bust
mess
out
around with
that,
that.
yeah.
I had a review to get done.
you wasn't messing
surgeon.
around. You was-
No, I did it.
I love it. He's like, I did it. I
I
did
was
it.
gonna ask you guys truth.
I see Zero in the
Social.
chat talking truth.
Is this still
Yeah.
more of a PvP weapon though, or no?
I don't even know if that has much love there now.
Yeah, that's
know.
Because you don't
It
get
probably
like
does.
extra, you don't get extra in PvP.
Wardcliff. We use Wardcliff.
Wardcliff, you would just everything in front of you gets deleted with Wardcliff, and you only still have one rocket.
Remember when Wardcliff was like the number one for the, what is it, the chandeliers and Leviathan? Everybody's busting out the.
Yeah.
Oh
Wardcliff.
yeah.
Yeah, remember that?
Warcliff does weird stuff. I remember I have an old video on YouTube, and it was like the first or second time I was doing Spire of Stars, and we had my one buddy, his name is Rec, and he was like, yeah, use Wardcliff Coil on this guy. And it was this final boss, and we're just like, dude, what are you talking about? And then he's like, dude, just put it on. We do it. You shoot like 3 rockets, you melt him. And he's like, so are we not doubting me anymore? So Wardcliff does weird stuff to certain
does.
bosses. I don't know why, but
Yeah, it's like
It's
I was
like-
looking
it's
at
like
that on my
low-key
list.
Celesta.
Yeah, I was looking
Mhm.
at that on my list, but if you're close enough to something, like I don't know if it ever got the rocket damage buff, but yeah, I was always able to just like if it's in this zone,
Yeah,
everything
this specific-
dies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, I sit here and
All right.
I look at and I like Darcy got Jolt, I think recently.
I think so.
Whisper hasn't been touched in a while.
Well, yeah, what about your beloved Whisper, E? That's what made you famous. What
I
made
mean,
you?
they're still afraid of snipers and scouts too much. They're not ever going to give them that much love. They don't want people. They don't want people to sit in the back and plink, especially with damn near infinite ammo.
Little incandescent can't hurt, you know.
I mean, I'd be okay with that, but I don't
You know.
expect it. There's other priorities I would see before that got some love. Snipers need
is that
more.
restricting the 10% or no?
It should, I would imagine.
I didn't know if it was all snipers or special snipers.
They don't mention, so I think it's all of them.
Oh yeah, it looks like 10% PvE buff to snipers. Okay.
Yeah.
You got that. You got Darcy. I mean, Heart Shadow. I don't know if anybody uses that thing. It's like a dungeon exotic that I don't know if anybody does it.
What is that?
Heart Shadow. It's the sword from
Duality.
Duality.
What I want to see them do is so like when Void 3.0 came out, they added all those like keywords or verbs.
Yeah.
So weaken is like a 15% debuff, and then like Div was obviously super strong because it was 30%. Tether's 30%. Tractor's 30% still. I think they just go through and make all these exotics 30% because I don't think there's enough like variety now with debuff sources, and using weaken's only 15. You always want to go the 30% route. So to me, it just makes those type of things kind of useless, which would kind of buff. You were talking about the LMG, like deterministic. I think that is another solution.
Absolutely.
Give it like 30%.
Yes. Oh, please, yes. I'd use that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, instead of weaken, you could almost like give it a different name if they're worried about like confusion. Instead of weaken, it could be, I don't know, put a verb on there.
Another verb on it.
Yeah.
Oh, Cloud's got to go. One last word, our namesake.
I mean, I hate facing that weapon, so that can rot and die.
You really die to last words these days.
No, I don't
I don't like-
face any of them in PvP anymore, but I'm just like, I face that enough that it can sit on the shelf. I am good.
Maybe some
And that is
PvE
100
love,
that
though.
is 100% a bias from me, and I will own it.
I feel it. But it's maybe some PvE love though. Like who's really
I don't know if that
last
thing
word.
could ever be PvE though. Like
It
the
won't.
reload,
Yeah.
I don't know if
It's a
that's
PvP
not what
weapon.
about-
yeah,
It should be good, but it's not. Yeah.
What about the
unfortunate.
new kinetic perk that everyone's raving
Are we gonna
about?
go through every exotic in the game right now? Is that
No.
what we're doing? Is this gonna take 4 hours?
We're doing a
I'm just-
4-hour show. You
we're
not ready?
literally, we're
I'm
literally
ready.
done. We're basically
We're
that's
going
all.
through the entire
That was all the ones I scanned through. I looked for some of the
legendaries
worst ones.
next hour. E, come on. I got a full cup. I'm ready. Got G. When we gonna break this thing down?
We're gonna go through every weapon in the game. Figure out what
And
needs to
the perks next.
No, the kinetic tremors perk, we mentioned it earlier. It is actually good. I made a video on it, and then
Yes, I
Cool
watched the
Guy
video.
made a video on it and shouted me out.
Throw a little kinetic trappers on there.
Shout out to Cool Guy.
Shout out to Cool Guy.
that's about all I got. I mean, we get down to known issues, and I'm not going to go through all the random stuff on there, but yeah, the hydroponics delta has a longer respawn timer. Yeah, and if that respawn timer goes over the 15 minutes when you don't have lives, you're bugged out, and it says looking for spawn, and you're stuck. I literally had to close the game. So if you do hydroponics delta and you go over, yep, well, you're just gonna have to quit the game. It was weird. That's all I got, though. Is there anything else you guys want to discuss between this week? I know we covered a lot. I know Cog was a little late, but is there anything else that what do you get? Are you cooking on a video right now? Is anything coming up that you're like, I've got the next secret sauce coming up?
No, I don't have anything coming up. I think I might start getting into some more maybe weapon testing towards the end of the season, especially with these things coming out. So that should be fun. It's kind of fun to go from like builds to weapon testing to builds, weapon testing stuff. But yeah, nothing crazy.
Well, then, unless anybody else has anything else, we can start wrapping this thing up. At this point, the floor is going to be yours, G, to tell everybody where to find you, where your content, what you got working on, anything else that you do, you know, all your stuff. The floor is yours. Go nuts.
Appreciate it. Yeah, you can find me over at Twitch. That's kind of like the main thing I'm trying to build up. Community over on Twitch. Just applied for partner. Fingers crossed. Should get it this time.
You'll get it.
So we're doing that over on Twitch. We focus a lot more on like speed runs. So we're doing Root of Nightmare speed runs. I think we'll start up Grasp of Avarice speed runs for that dungeon. And then we usually work on like low mans and stuff like that. So do that over on Twitch. YouTube is also Gmeiners. There it's mostly build videos, damage testing, anything I think that's good, like PvE that's like meta, I'll post over there. And then I do have a Twitter and I have a TikTok, but TikTok is TikTok. I just kind of throw some clips up there, but Twitter's fun too. I do like engaging with people on Twitter just because it's fun to see. I feel like that's a good place to understand like the community for Destiny. So mainly those three things: Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. And yeah, that's about it.
Hit or miss on the Twitter community, but yeah, it's still
yeah.
Can be, you got to filter your community, but there's a good group out there somewhere.
Yeah.
Salute to you, G. Apologies for being late. Big fan of your content. You always come up in my recommendations because I'm always like follow the build guys, the guides and stuff like that. I remember when the osteo and the what you call it, the necrotic, and the what is it, the consumer strand grenade was rampant, and I was like, can stop busting this off. I see my man G he's on to it. He knows what's going on.
That feels great. That feels great.
It's so busted. I love it. But now salute to you. I always gravitate towards content like that, and you have a great way of explaining things. So salute to you. Good to have you on in the realm. Good content, brother.
Appreciate it. Yeah, great to be here too.
No doubt.
Travis, you got anything going on, Cog? 6-hour last word special. I will need a bathroom break in the middle of that one, but yeah, Necromancer Zero with the $10 super chat. You're crazy.
That will be my bathroom break. Full 6 hours.
6 hours.
Yeah.
Just hold on. I need a catheter. Excuse me.
Right at the start. Guys, I gotta go to the bathroom. Yeah, I've got lots of stuff. The Diablo 4 review in progress part 2 went up yesterday. My IGN first for Revenant 2 ended this week on Wednesday, yesterday as well, or Monday actually. So you can find my full preview there. I'm doing a new review this week for Meet Your Maker, and I did a whole bunch of GDC coverage. You can watch all that. Destiny raid guide probably going live tomorrow.
Jesus.
Yeah, I know.
Man out here killing it.
I've been not sleeping lately. More stuff I can't talk about that I'm working on. So yeah, it's been a super productive stuff for me, and you can find all my stuff on IGN.com. And for everything else, Dick with IGN.
You sound like the Dick.
That's his outro.
That's the outro.
You can check out these 2 videos we posted just recently.
Yeah, exactly.
Cog, what about you? I know you've been.
What about you, Cog? What do you got?
What kept you?
I know. The shout out to Xbox. They had an event for it was in Brooklyn, obviously kind of a sport kind of event, and then Party Animals, the game that's supposed to be coming out soon. It's kind of hilarious, like these murder cutesy animals. It looks absolutely hilarious. So you got to check that out. Obviously, fresh off of PAX East, which was phenomenal. Had a lot of great content that we're just putting up there right now. Be on the lookout for Atlas Fallen. I like the vibes from the game.
Is that the guys the people who made Surge 1 and 2? Is that them?
I believe so. I believe so. Yeah, I got some good stuff. Some really cool games.
It got delayed, didn't it?
Yes, and
Yeah.
then be on the lookout. Wrestle Quest. That one's kind of like a pro wrestling meets JRPG, which is kind of dope.
Like
Great
Golf
little
Story,
team.
but for wrestling.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It's hilarious. So again, we got content going up nonstop. Obviously, Duke with Mr. Manny Plays. We got out the E3 is looks like it's official. You know, the ESA have bent the knee, so we got to see what everybody else is gonna do.
Yeah.
So we talked about that, and then ILP returns this Sunday. We'll be back in the realm, talking all the stuff that's going on in gaming, and yeah, man, it's been fun. So I didn't want to miss 2 weeks in a row because I was like, if I'm late, I gotta make this damn show.
We'll just get him for the last half
2
hour,
weeks.
just a quick finish.
Never.
There.
I was like, I gotta. If I'm driving through traffic and then someone, not to get political, but someone got indicted today in New York, it's a bit crazy. So just trying to navigate through the traffic to get around.
That was probably a little insane. Yeah, that makes
yeah,
sense.
that's what kept me much longer. But I'm glad I got to meet my man Gmeiners. We got to talk technical. Unfortunately, we did not get a chance to do all the legendaries, all the exotics like I wanted. But we got
And the
most of
blues.
stuff.
Don't forget
And
the
the
blues.
blues.
We got to go through all the.
Blues.
Yeah.
The secret
Honestly,
blues.
that would be a great YouTube video. All blue weapons in Destiny. ranked.
Yo,
That would be such a
Yeah.
fun video. Yeah,
remember when? Yeah, go ahead. Remember when there were hustles for blue? They're like, yo, if you put on
I
this
do.
one. Remember, like
Yeah.
there was blue hustles and exploits.
And
at
then Paul
one time.
Tassi had to get blues deleted from the game.
Yeah.
What a piece of crap.
Auto delete.
Dare he?
But no, other than that, same old stuff, man. Just grinding is crazy, like we always are. What is going on, Joe? I've been watching a lot of your videos lately, bro. A lot of stuff keeps coming up on my timeline.
Don't let
So
him.
salute to you. No, it does. How to get this fast? How to solo this? I'm like, Ron, you can solo the Vex Caliber like that? Okay, let me do that. So yeah, what's up?
Yeah, I
man?
got to
What's
work on the
going
solo legendary. That'll
No,
be
no.
a pain in the ass.
He
but
can solo the Vex Caliber. You,
Yeah.
dog, you're gonna
Yeah,
need me on.
That's
your
what it
team.
should say.
Yeah,
It's
for
just
sure.
how to solo the content if you're E.
Nope.
Yeah.
That is not what I title my videos. I'm how anyone can solo. Come on.
Let's go.
Yeah, no, saw you in your picture sporting your Warlock zip up.
South attack.
Yeah,
for
I need
dad.
to get
Told me
the
it was back in
Titan one,
stock.
actually.
Gotta get the Titan.
The Titan one's back in stock. I actually want to get that one. So. No, just playing Destiny. I got I kind of want to check out a couple games this weekend before I go on vacation. One's called Dredge. It's like this weird little like kind of fishing adventure thing, but it actually looks like it's got like kind of a horror thing. Things go wrong. I've seen it previewed for a while, so I think I might check that one out on stream because I might have like Saturday to myself or whatever if my wife's got plans. And other than that, playing Destiny, trying to catch up. I've got like I'm going to be on vacation, so I will be here for the podcast next week, and then I leave the next day, and I'm going to be gone for like 10 days, so I got a vacation, so I'll miss the week after that. But you guys will be seeing every Lost Sector for this season. I'm going to do a guide on every one of them on Master, and they were recorded while they were difficult before the health got bumped down. So if I can do it the way I showed you, you can do these. So that's the goal. But yeah, so G, thank you very much. Yeah. Big fan, of course. Love to see somebody like with quality content just blowing up on YouTube. So happy to get a chance to chat with you, and very, very thankful that you were able to come on.
Yeah, it was a great time. Thank you for reaching out. Honestly, it's a great time meeting all you guys. And yeah.
Well, as we wrap this episode up, as we always do in entertaining fashion, thank you, chat. You guys have been amazing. If you enjoyed the show, drop a like on it. If you have not followed any and all of these people, but especially our guest, go follow him on Twitch. Help him push that partner to the finish line. Get that partner push. So please, we want to make sure we check that one later, and he's doing awesome. So please go follow him. Go watch everything on IGN, but make sure you look up IGN, go search Travis, and go find all of his content, and then just put a bot on there with like lots of view refreshes. And then scroll, so just like the body text and all those things get done. And then ILP, of course, lots of love over there.
Yeah, commit fraud on my behalf.
Fraud and get his
takeaway.
Yeah, get his articles taken down
Fine.
with this fraudulent
normal
tactics.
viewing of all of his. Just go watch every one of his videos. That's all you got to do. No big deal. No, just you guys are always great. Good times for episode number 243. Thank you guys. This is the last one of March. We are fourth through the year. So for this episode, it has been
The last word.
the last word.
Last word.